Caden Sexton. And Caden, this game features obviously the #1 team in all the land in Washington. Galesburg comes in, another Central Illinois power. We should see a great battle here tonight.
No, most certainly, John. I mean, when you've got the #1 ranked team, you know that there's going to be some heat out there. And if it's not with offense, it's with defense. And this Ottawa team is going to have to, or excuse me, this Galesburg team is going to have to get ready to play some strong defense as well as be able to get those turnover points if they want to stay alive in advance to play either Ottawa or Morton on Thursday.
Galesburg comes in 24-7, 11-3 in Western Big Six play, a program that is so strong in tradition, but an area power for as long as many people can remember. Washington, though, this has been a special season for them. They come into this one at 32-1 on the season. Now only lost back to Morton. They're playing some great ball right now. And Kaden, we're a little bit more familiar with this Panthers team. Like you said, they like to get out and run. They got a lot of different scores. They can really beat you in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, you know, I talked with Avery Tibbs on Sunday. 30-point game on Monday against a rival Metamora. That's her career high. You know, she's kind of been the vocal point of that offense. She's got stars around her, though. Don't doubt Rebecca McDougall. Don't doubt Adriana Donald, Maisie O'Brien, Daniel Goodette. There's lots of players up and down this lineup and more that come off the bench, John, that continue to be high-powered offensive threats. If you double one, it's okay to double one of those stars, but no, you're leaving somebody else open who's going to score big.
Already tipped off here just now in Kingman Gym, a historic venue clad in red. Balcony seating on both sides, and Becca McDougall drains the first bucket of the game. It's 2-0 Washington. That one, a good look there from the baseline. She has been a big scorer for Washington over her last 3 years. Washington starters are unchanged. They're in their home whites. They got Avery Tibbs, Becca McDougall, Adrian Donald, Maisie O'Brien, Danny Gaudet out there. Galesburg in their road black and grays bring out a set of triplets. Taylor Herkenroder, Ella Herkenroder, and Grace Herkenroder, all sophomores, alongside Jocelyn Kilgore and Jocelyn Peck. So 3 Herkenroders and 2 Jocelyn's, different spellings on this Silver Streaks team as they work the ball around here on their first possession. Washington coming out in a man look. Here's a drive, Tibbs there, and creating some pressure. It was off of the foot of Ella Herkenroder and back to Washington here with 7:04 to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, Tibbs planted herself, made the choice pretty easy. You either have to go through me or you're going to lose that basketball. Ball kind of just trickled out of bounds there, but last touched by Silver and Black.
Galesburg pressing Tibbs a little bit, but she breaks it easily. Now they feed it to Gaudet in the high post. She's being guarded tightly by her defender. I believe that's Peck, who's a 5'10 senior forward. Here's a 3-ball in the corner. Becca McDougall drains it, rattles in, and that'll electrify the Washington crowd. Nice section of here of orange and black making the trip to Ottawa. Same for Galesburg, a lot of black and gray here on our side. Floater in the lane from Ella Herkenroder. Defensive board, back to Tibbs. Here goes Washington transition. It's O'Brien right up the gut, and she's pushed out. McDougall, baseline, tries to feed Gaudet. She loses it, then regains it. O'Brien's 3 is no good. Rebound on the floor, back to McDougall. Now O'Brien. Washington playing very fast here in the first opening 2. Avery Tibbs up and under on the baseline. What a start for these Panthers, Caden.
Yeah, 7-0 run, not something to laugh at. Continuing to be able to pass the ball around and get those boards has been the success to get all 3 of those buckets so far.
So now the Streaks still trying for their first bucket after getting a little slap in the mouth to start this one. They turn it over. No one was home in the paint. Here's McDougall chugging down the floor. She kicks out. O'Brien 3 is a bit short. And the rebound is brought in there by Grace Herkenroder. That was Ella. Now she'll feed the post, and too many Panther bodies in there. They get out in transition again. O'Brien, her shot no good. Gaudet, the offensive board. She's double teamed. Kick out. Donald drives in. There was some contact, and it looks like she's going to shoot 2 free throws. Our first chance to catch our breath after a frenetic first 2.5 minutes, but boy, Washington coming out of the gates hot.
Yeah, and it looks like Galesburg's going to sub 3 in. You know, John, people at home don't see it. Not only do we have 3 triplets, they're number 10, 11, and 12. So don't blame us too much when we make the when we make that slip up as Adrian Donald drains the first from the line.
That first foul went on Jocelyn Kilgore. That's her first for Galesburg. And it is a little bit harder to see. Again, black and gray. There is some color contrast there, but not always easy to see. Silver Streaks bringing some subs, including Zanaya Carter, who is a big factor for them in their regional. The Silver Streaks, they won the Richwoods Regional. McDougal tried to feed Donald up in transition, and that's Washington's first turnover. Free throw is good. It's 8-0. You're with 5:09 to go. Again, glad you're with us here on ClutchSportsIL.com. 3A Ottawa Sectional Semifinals tonight. We'll have Morton and Ottawa coming up after this one as well. Here's Zanaya Carter, a new substitution into the game for Galesburg, driving to the lane. Now she gives. Floater from the baseline. Ella Herkenroder took a couple bounces and goes down. So Galesburg takes about 3:15 to get on the board first. And nearly a turnover. It is a turnover. No, now it goes back to Washington. O'Brien took it away there from Ella Herkenroder.
Ella Herkenroder knocked it out again, but it dribbled to Becca McDougal. She was able to get it out to the corner. Active
hands have not resulted in a turnover on this possession. Here's Donald open for 3 at the top of the key, comes up short. And Ella Herkenroder, who's been the most active of the 3 triplets so far, brings in the miss and gives it up to Carter. She's guarded by McDougal, matchup of 2 players that don the number 5. Chloe May was also another substitution that came in for Galesburg alongside a 5'9 junior Lily Furrow. Here's Carter, an open look. McDougal closed out and affected the shot enough. Tibbs brings the board. Quickly up the floor and out of bounds. We talked about on the way down here, Kaden, you know, Washington team that passes well in transition. They like to get out and run, and usually they complete those passes. That time, though, a bit too strong there from Tibbs.
Yeah, and you know, even you saw new gym, not the familiarity with Becca McDougal running out and trying to get that ball and running up 2 flights of stairs with the low seating here at Kingman Gym.
That's normally, I think, sometimes a student section for Ottawa. Again, we'll see the home Pirates play later as Furrow tried to get a look in the paint off the glass. It was no good. Washington brings it the other way. They're going left to right here in this historic gym that features 2 prominent columns on both sides. It's surrounded in brickade, and this place is going to get loud as we get a foul on Galesburg, especially for that later game tonight when Morton takes on the hosts here.
Yeah, I was talking about the band earlier, is that's a second foul on Jocelyn Kilgore. I mean, the band playing took out everything. The PA went from pretty clear to non-existent.
Panthers working it around after a foul there on Kilgore. Again, that was her second. Tibbs driving in through contact and 1. She did that 3 times in her career-high game in the regional semis, and there's another hoop and harm, and Washington now leads at 10-2.
Yeah, that's the second bucket for Avery Tibbs. First team all Mid-Illini for a reason, John. She's able to kick it out. She's able to play defense, force turnovers, and go drive into the paint, shoot at the free throw line. We've seen it all already in just 5 minutes of play.
Tibbs converts on the free throw. She's up to 5. Washington leads it 11-2. And again, Kay, we talk about more about it later. This Washington team has been more of a second half team, and they're coming out hot here tonight. Ainsley Redlingshafer makes her first appearance for Washington as Ella Herkenroder directs traffic up near the volleyball line. Now is back up top with Lily Furrow. Here's Ella Herkenroder driving and kicking, finds an open Carter. Her 3 ball on the way and off the mark. Galesburg has struggled from the field so far. Rebound tapped around. Redlingshafer hit the deck, and it goes back to the Silver Streaks. Kick out, wide open Carter. Donald comes with the help, but it came too late. And 1 for Zanaya Carter.
That was a great play by the freshman. She found she had an opening. She could have taken the shot uncontested. Instead, she wanted to press her luck, got in the paint, and was able to drain 1 over 2 defenders for Washington.
Substitution in for Galesburg. It's Grace Herkenroder coming back in for Chloe May, who's a 5'2" junior guard. This Galesburg team carries 3 seniors, so relatively young. Free throw is good, 11-5 game. Both these teams, again, not terribly reliant on their seniors. Washington only has 2 of them, and they play almost exclusively juniors, in case you aren't quite as familiar with Washington, but many around our area down in Peoria know that junior class has done so much. They work around. Redling Schaefer drives it inside the arc. O'Brien finds it to Gaudet, who took 2 steps with it before she tried to drive on the baseline, turns it over. So Galesburg brings it back up, and Caden, they only need a 3-pointer here to make it a 1-score game, despite Washington coming out and playing hard, though. That pass, they try to get it to Kilgore. It bounced off of her hands, and it will go all the way down to the baseline. Redling Schaefer nearly got a hand on it before it went out. Boy, she is a pest.
Oh, I mean,
on defense.
She created that turnover. Yes, it was a little high of a throw, but her speed off that pass was what created a Washington possession.
Great point there. Washington goes inside out, kick out, McDougal. She's got the hot hand, has got 8 for Washington, 2 buckets from deep already. Beautiful ball movement there from the Panthers.
You know, there's a reason that they put Becca McDougal as a guard/forward, because we've already seen her drive into the paint and kick it out and make threes. So.
Speaking of 3 balls, Ella Herkenrider drains one for Galesburg, so now they're starting to fall for both squads, 14-8. And as you see on your screen, 1:20 to go here in this opening frame of play. Nice broadcast. I want to shout out Domino's for making this game possible here, live and for free. Galesburg comes away with a turnover. It's Carter pushing it up. She's hounded by Tibbs in a tough spot and tries to feed her teammate Peck. It went off the foot of McDougal and will stay with the silver and black. It's Galesburg team again, back to their regional. They beat Dunlap 45-37 in the regional title game as the Eagles team that gave them a good run. But we'll be seeing them in deep playoff runs coming in the future with their great group of freshmen. Here's Carter. Nice spin move to get an open layup. Just couldn't get it to fall. Now it's Redling Schaefer the other way. Kept in bounds by Peck. And Galesburg comes the other direction. What a play. 2-on-1. Here comes Grace Herkenrider. She drives in and gets fouled by McDougal.
You know, that whistle, it was the right call, but it came a little bit late. Washington thought they were going to go and get a possession on the transition. Instead, they're lining up at the free throw line.
So it'll be 2 free throws here for Galesburg. Peck there on the drive. Washington's committed 2 fouls here in this opening frame. Galesburg has committed 3, and the first one is good for Jocelyn Peck, a 5'10 senior forward. Looking at the size matchup of both of these teams, Caden, it looks like it slightly favors Washington, although Galesburg does have some size with Peck and a couple of 5'10 girls on their bench. Washington's forwards, though, with McDougal and Gaudet have been quite a problem for many teams all season long. Both free throws were good, so it's a 4-point game. Final possession here of the first quarter, at least we assume, for Washington. Tibbs fakes one way, now goes left. Kicks it back out. McDonald, goes cross court. Washington, no hurry, down to 10. Now Tibbs will drive into double coverage, looking for a teammate. He's got Donald, now with 4, with 3. O'Brien is going to have to shoot with 2, with 1. Through contact, she wanted the foul, but that was better defense from Galesburg. And that's where we end the first quarter, kid. And man, what a fun, fast-paced first half of action.
Well, you said it all, John. Going back to that last sequence, Washington wanting to drain the clock out. I mean, a smart move on them, no doubt about it. Wanting to take the last shot when they had a possession with pretty much 22 seconds left. But what was interesting is Galesburg, they probably, in my opinion, had their best sequence of defense in that last 22 seconds. They immediately had help defense every time, for every new Washington ball carrier, and that was what made it hard for Washington. Is the Panthers were looking for that clear shot, and with 2 on you, you're not going to find it.
Most definitely. And again, while we're at a quick break, I want to thank our great sponsor for tonight, Domino's. From now until March 2nd, online only, you can get any crust, any topping pizza for $9.99 each. Definitely want to order now. Offers available on Domino's.com. Plenty of area locations, whether you're in Washington or Galesburg or anywhere in between. Of course, Caden, it always seems like, during these games, we have our great friends over at Domino's along for this one. Always seems like whenever they sponsor a game, the game is right at dinner hour, and you're like, man, the pizza sounds pretty good right now. It's 6:11, but we will definitely take a big helping of basketball. We got plenty of it coming your way here from Kingman Gym. Galesburg starts the second quarter here with the ball, and it's Ella Herkenrotter bringing it up as we get a turnover early from Galesburg. That's going to be a big key for this one tonight. You can't afford to not execute against this very skilled Panthers squad.
Yeah, the Panthers is that one.
Well, as
they could
turn it over right back. Ella Herkenrotter, jumper in the paint, off the mark and rebounded by McDougal. Back to your point, Caden, as she gets fouled in the backcourt by Jocelyn Peck. So that's not going to be one that the Silver Streaks want. But back to what you were saying.
Yeah, before Washington threw that ball into open coverage and Galesburg went out and got it, it's hard to beat the best team in the state when you're having problems getting your shots off. And that was what Washington proved in the first frame as Avery Tibbs gets all the way into the paint before it's blocked, that time by Grace Heidenschreider. I mean, when you get all the way into the paint and you don't get to put the bucket up when you're out passing the ball around the arc and you're getting it intercepted, it's not a recipe for success. They got to tone down those mistakes because when they were shooting, they were scoring.
Here's G'day with it. Now back up top to Donald. Washington's got 5 girls all around the arc right now. But again, that inside-out game for them is just so lethal. You have to respect their forwards and their guards. Donald, 3-ball on the wing, no good. G'day there with the miss. Puts it back up and in through a slight bit of contact, but no foul. It's 16-10 Washington.
Yeah, G'day, great job there, utilizing her space, realizing she could take that step in and put it out off the backboard and get the easy bucket.
So that's G'day's first bucket. She was Washington's best player as McDougal comes away, just pickpockets Galesburg, speeding up the other direction, lays it up and in. What a game from McDougal. 10 of Washington's points. She has matched Galesburg's team total so far. What a layup from Carter. Jumped in, double clutched in the air, went high off the glass and in. She's a dynamic player, kid. That's my initial takeaway.
Yeah, Zanaya Carter as well as Ella of the 3 triplets. 2 of them have gotten combined 10 points out of the 12 for this Galesburg Silver Streaks team. So
you were going through the whole dictionary, every word that starts with S. Thankfully, there are no streakers here in the building, although there are some Silver Streaks as Mazzy O'Brien gets a layup to fall up and off the glass, so it's back into an 8-point game. But Carter and Herkenrotter were both big for the Silver Streaks in their game against, both their games against Dunlap and Geneseo back in the 3A Peoria High Regional as they'll go back up top. It's Ella Herkenrotter. She's their point guard and has gotten the most touches so far. They'll go back up top with her. She's guarded by the slightly larger G'day. Stands at 5'11". Here's a crossover from Herkenrotter. Dribbles into the teeth of Washington's defense. Off the rim and rebounded by O'Brien. Nice pass up the way, up to Tibbs. Just poetry in motion, Caden. What a find, threading the needle.
And then Galesburg trying to do the same, but it's swallowed up by Danielle G'day.
Here's a 3-ball on the way. It's Grace Herkenrotter. That one off the back iron and no good. So Galesburg had a little bit of a hot stretch shooting the ball, but it's since cooled off. McDougal finding space. She got fouled from behind, and that one might be on Peck. That would be her second.
You are correct. That goes on Jocelyn Peck. She's definitely been the best presence so far in this contest for either team in the paint, locking things down defensively for Galesburg. For Galesburg. So when she leaves the paint is when Washington has their success as McDougal drains the first.
She has been money for Washington so far. 11 of the team's 23, and she has a chance to make it 12 here on the second. Galesburg cheerleaders here in the house. Washington's are as well, making a great environment here as we still got some fans trickling in for this one. Maybe a couple late arrivals. Longer road trip for both of these teams. Washington, I'd estimate probably about an hour, slightly over an hour drive. Not sure exactly how far Galesburg is from here as Jocelyn Kilgore drove into the paint. Got fouled. She'll head to the line for 2. As we look at just how far exactly Galesburg High School is here from Ottawa. 84 miles, hour 46 drive, so a bit longer of a bus trip for the Silver Streaks, but
referees had a second conversation on who to give the foul to, and they are giving it to number 25, Danielle Gaudet for Washington. Her first.
As number 1 on Gaudet. Again, neither teams have been in much foul trouble so far, as the first free throw is up and good. Washington's fans here, the middle section is about 3 large kind of rectangular seating sections here on both sides on the balcony. And Washington's middle section is almost completely full as Kilgore misses the second, and we get a blocking call there on Galesburg after that miss. We'll see what it goes on. It'll be their 3rd of the quarter, and it's the 3rd on Jocelyn Kilgore. So she's probably going to have to sit now for the rest of this first half.
Yeah, only 1 free throw to her name points-wise, but it doesn't mean she hasn't been being a big factor for this group.
Kilgore had some good games for them back in the regional, as that one up and in. Shot there from Ainsley Redling-Schaefer, who I talked to you on the way here, Caden. You know, she could really end up being an X-factor, do-it-all player for Kim Barth.
You know, they're a talented group of juniors, but she's another junior to put on that list.
Most definitely. Silver Streaks the other direction. A pass right into the hands of McDougal. Put both of them directly up in the air and hit her right there. Tibbs now driving in, kicking out, facing double team. Redling-Schaefer shot a 3, but an offensive foul called before the shot. Caden and I did not see where that foul occurred.
I did not either. I'm trying to see the ref's signal. I think they're calling a hold on McDougal.
So that's McDougal's second. It'd be a big loss for Washington. She'll check out temporarily, but again, just 2 fouls for her with about 4 minutes to play here in quarter number 2. Washington looking for a sectional title berth and to win their first sectional under head coach Kim Barth. They certainly feel like this is the year to do it, and O'Brien's active hands poked it out from Ella Herkenroder, and it touched her on the way out. So it was Washington basketball, and Herkenroder couldn't believe it.
Yeah, she was in disbelief, but nobody's throwing a fit. Everybody else understands what's going on. She calmed down, and she's going to go play some defense in the paint.
So it's a 12-point lead here for Washington. And if you're Galesburg, as a pass from Donald was airmailed to Redling-Schaefer, they tried to go cross court. And a miscue there is Jenna Spezio checking in now for the Panthers, and Donald comes out. Galesburg can just, keep this a ball game, 8 to 10 points or so at halftime. Still got plenty of ball game left to play as we get a timeout called here by Galesburg. It'll be a 30, and again, I want to take a quick word for, I think, Domino's for sponsoring tonight's broadcast, both of them. And from now until March 2nd, any crust pizza, any toppings, $9.99 each. Get in on that deal now. Order now at Domino's.com.
We might have to order one for our break in between games, John. I'm starting to get a little hungry.
What do you say? We order one now? I bet it'll be here.
Center, senior, the end. Danielle Greenlee, senior, D-tackle.
The end of the game, as Washington leads at 25-13. If you're Galesburg right now, Kaden, what do you think it's got to be the biggest key for them to try and get back into this? Well, what did you like from them in that little spurt they had at the end of the first half?
Well,
first quarter.
Yeah, that spark they had in the end of the first quarter was they were driving in on the weak sides of Washington, and they were just taking their shots and making sure they at least made offensive attempts. It's not about looking for the perfect shot, because then Washington gets time to perfect their defense, close things down, and right there, throw the ball a little bit too high into the paint and out of bounds. It's not the perfect shot you need to look for, John. It's making fine shots that have hopes of going in and getting you points.
Peck tried to feed Lily Furrow in the post, had her one-on-one down there, but the pass sailed a bit too high. So seeing both teams commit similar types of turnovers with high passes in this one. You want to use football terms, throw the safe ball, the one that no one else is going to get. A couple times it's gone a bit too high as Washington works their offense now. Gaudet shot fakes and drives in, spitting in the paint, finds a wide open Spezio for a very deep 2. Off the mark, Again, a fight for the rebound goes to Galesburg.
Yeah, you know, as you were saying on that last possession, the safe ball, that was the safe ball. They just once again threw it just a tad too high. And the result of a tad too high is a Washington possession. And that's not something you can do against a top-ranked team in the state.
Most definitely need to play almost a perfect game to give these Panthers a tough run as Zanaya Carter, the 5'6" freshman, drives in for the foul. It'll be the third on Washington this quarter. And Carter's been aggressive as that one goes on Rudling Schaefer.
Yeah, first on Rudling Schaefer, we already seen Becca McDougal take a seat after scoring 11 points due to her 2 fouls, And you know, crowd of Washington made some noise after that one, John.
So Carter knocks down number 1. And number 2 is also up and good for Galesburg's freshman guard, who's now got 7 points for the Silver Streaks so far. She's going to be a very interesting player to watch the rest of her high school career. G'day going with a step-back 3. Off the mark there, no good. Maybe a bit of a rush shot there if you're Washington. Carter driving in, finding Peck. And she just beat Washington down the floor and found a sliver of space. And Washington will call timeout. Rare defensive lapse for this team that likes and really plays defense well. Have only allowed 50 or more points 5 times in their 33 games this season.
Yeah, and to go off of your comment there, only one team has scored over 53 on the Washington Panthers. And, you know, what you saw there was, made a comment earlier, Jocelyn Peck has been locked down in the paint. I mean, the tallest starter. She was the only non-5'7" starter for this group. 5'10" in the paint. 5'10" in the paint doesn't sound extremely tall, especially when you got Becca McDougal at 5'11", Adrian Donald at 5'10", and Danielle G'day at 5'11". When you got 3 people that are the same height as you, it's hard to be on a solo mission, but Jocelyn Peck has been, and she's been excelling at that on the other end of the floor. That was her first bucket. She had 2 free throws, but that was her first bucket in the paint so far.
And it's back to an 8-point game. Galesburg really maybe a slight tinge of momentum after that bucket there from Peck. Okay, I'm not sure if you have it written down. I'm going to take a guess. Is the only team to score over 53 against Washington. Might be a team not too far from Galesburg. I believe it may have been Abingdon Avon as O'Brien chucks up a 3 and it's too strong. G'day's there for the offensive board. G'day going to work at the post, and what a move there. Just Euro stepping over and getting the 2 there.
It's a quick transition, John, but to answer your question, you are correct, as Zanaya Carter makes another layup in the paint. That's her 9th point.
So it's back to an 8-point game. How about the season that the Tornadoes are having? How about that bucket there from Danny G'day through contact, and she's got a chance to extend it back up to 11. Buckets coming fast and furious, but Tornadoes, they're in sectional semifinal action tonight. A lot of other good games going on. Our Harvey Newcomb is over at DMAC High School tonight for a pair of great 2A games. G'day's free throw rattles in and out into the hands of Galesburg. DMAC taking on Monmouth Roseville right now, and then Peoria Notre Dame taking on Bloomington Central Catholic. 3 ball on the other end from Chloe May. Offensive board went to Peck, but they're going to get her for the offensive foul, and that's her 3rd. So now her and Kilgore with 3 fouls to their name before the half.
Yeah, that's definitely not something you want to see if you are head coach Lexi DeMott. And because especially now, that's the 5th foul. That gets the shooting started, and it'll be Danny G'day, who's already got 6 points from the paint. Now she's going to try and add some more on the line.
And G'day is a player that really just has improved so much during her time at Washington. Her footwork, Kim Barth says, is just some of the best that she's ever seen at Washington. I mean, she can get defenders in the air all the time, shot faking, and we saw it on the last bucket there, just, you know, holding the ball high over her head, you know, goes from one side to another, finds the open spot to get the shot up and off, and she drained it, and she also drains that first free throw. She's got 7.
Yeah, John, she's the 3rd Washington Panther behind Avery Tibbs and Becca McDougal to be named the Mid-Illini first team. And, you know, the media kind of covers Tibbs and McDougal a lot more than they cover Danny G'day, but that's not because of the quality of player Danny G'day is. She's got 2 stars in front of her, but she is the 3rd star of this team.
lot of stars on this Washington squad as Galesburg turns it over. Miscommunication there as I believe Ella Herkenrotter cut towards the paint, but her teammate expected her to go back closer to half court, and that one rolls in the backcourt, gives it back to Washington with 1:02 to go. Tibbs to inbound on the near sideline, just in front of about the 2 or 3 rows of bleachers they have here at Kingman Gym. So some fans getting some up close and personal action. The rest of the fans obviously on top of the balcony. Tibbs double teamed in the paint, still gonna go up with it. And the hook shot is good. What can Avery Tibbs do?
9th point for Tibbs in this first half. Not the pace for another 30-point game, but it's still the impact that the Washington Panthers need.
And Tibbs again had a career-high 30 against Metamora in the regional semi last week. Galesburg feeding the post, and nice wall-up defense there from G'day, just stymieing the Silver Streaks.
Yeah, she blocked that one, John.
And now Washington a chance to get the last say in this quick-moving first half. It's going to be Tibbs. Corner 3 ball is up and good. Now that's what many people see from Tibbs, that affinity to knock down the triple. Got that one in the far corner right in front of the Galesburg bench as we get a whistle. And it's going to be the 4th foul on Washington with 7.9 to go. Now actually Galesburg will have a chance to actually have the last say in this one. In this first half, I should say.
Yeah, that's G'day's second. We see Brooklyn Bauman come in to replace her. And as you said, 7.9 seconds. Don't have all the time in the world, but definitely enough to make that last shot what you want.
Inbound and a wide open Carter at the top of the key is an air ball, but it bounces off of the foot of May. It was a layup for Furrow. She was no good. Tibbs from half court, she drained it! Avery Tibbs threw it up at the horn. It ripped around and went down. Back-to-back triples and 8 straight from Tibbs before the half, Caden, and now she is on pace for another career high. That gives her 15 halfway through this one, 38-19, and Washington is just electrified going into the halftime locker room. Wow, what a shot.
Let's be honest with ourselves, John. You were not seeing a sad face go from Washington as they ran into that tunnel. But after that shot, I mean, that's the happiest I've seen any team look this season in high school basketball. And it was just for a half quarter going halftime, and one of the best shots I've seen in my life.
To use a line from Vern Lundquist, off her hand, that shot looked better than most. And from our angle, again, we're situated here on one of the corners. From our angle, even over here, it looked good as Todd Hersey and Kim Barth exchanged high fives headed into the locker room. And just like that, Caden, it seemed like Galesburg was right back in this one. It was an 8-point game. Then Tibbs just like a lightning bolt. It had that hook shot, corner 3, half-court shot. And it rimmed all the way around, or at least most of the way around, and then went down for a 38-19 lead here at the halftime break. So Washington looking good here through this first half.
And John, a killer celebration as well. I mean, arms straight up in the air, making sure all of her teammates, I mean, it was like somebody had just hit the grand slam or made the walk-off. A whole bench ran up, nearly hoisting her into the air with both arms up. But you know, if you're, as you touched on there, if you're Lexi DeMott and you're that Galesburg team, you have to go into the tunnel and just tell them to forget about it. I mean, that's the kind of momentum switch, as you mentioned, that changes the game. Galesburg was kind of inching back. They were getting closer. They were having better possessions, scoring some more points. And I'm not saying that that's definitely not going to end the game. We still got 16 minutes left. But if you're Galesburg, that has to get out of that play has to leave your brain before you come back, especially, John, as we talked about in the car right up, with how good of a third quarter Washington likes to have.
Most definitely. They had great third quarters. I saw it against Metamora, against Morris, against Morton in the regular season finale. So, again, it's all just about, that third quarter is going to be huge for Galesburg. It's going to determine whether or not they have a chance to pull out a win here or if they'll be going home. A quick word again for our great sponsor tonight. I want to thank Domino's for sponsoring tonight's broadcast and making it possible. From now until March 2nd, go to Domino's.com. Carry out or delivery, but it's got to be online only. Any crust, any toppings, $9.99 each. Get in on that deal now at Domino's.com. What a first half of action. Glad you're with us here again on ClutchSportsIL.com. Again, no video broadcast tonight because of the IHSA and the NFHS Network's exclusivity agreement. So unfortunately, we cannot, by the bylaw is established by the IHSA, we cannot provide a video broadcast tonight here since it's on NFHS. But again, we're glad you're with us here live and for free. We got you covered tonight for the second game, Morton and Ottawa coming up at 7:30. And then, as long as at least one of our local teams, Washington or Morton, make it here on Thursday, we will be back here at Kingman Gym on Thursday for that game as well. So looking forward to seeing what all the area teams get to do in the playoffs. There's a handful of teams still remaining. Obviously, our Harvey Newcomb over at that DMAC sectional. And Caden, how about this? A bit of an interesting, intriguing score at halftime. Monmouth-Roseville leading DMAC 14-13 at the half of that one. Monmouth-Roseville, big underdogs in that one. Number 3 seed, DMAC 30-3 on the season. And Chiefs are still trying to get it going. Kenzie Knowles leading DMAC with 5. Dahlia DeJesus with just 4 for the Chiefs so far. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on that one, as well as P&D against Central Catholic later on. Pekin also facing Normal Community in Class 4A action down at Normal West tonight. How about the Mid-Illini, Caden? 3 area teams won regional titles, and it could have been 4 if Dunlap would have beat Galesburg. It was a very strong conference all the way through, as Washington, Morton, and Pekin all winning regional titles.
Yeah, you know, it kind of shows the power of a conference when you're able to succeed in the playoffs. At the end of the day, as you know, I saw the memes go all crazy when that SEC Network graphic came out. At the end of the day, the conference records in conference are 500. That mathematically is a factual statement, John. Yeah. But it proves how strong a conference is when you get to this spring, when you get to March, and you have more teams in your conference standing than the other conferences have.
Most definitely, and I think it's really just, you know, aided Washington this season. You know, not only did they schedule a good non-conference slate, they played P&D, they played Ottawa, who we're going to see later today. They played a lot of other really good squads, including Galesburg during the regular season. Haven't touched on that. Washington won the previous meeting 61-44 back in November. But, you know, the fact that you're getting a good team, just game in and game out, that is going to really prepare you a lot, especially when every single one of those teams is trying to take down the top dog. I mean, Washington's got a huge target on their back, being number 1 all season long, pretty much.
Right, and as you mentioned, November 23rd, a 61-44 victory when these two teams last saw each other. You know, if we do some math real quick, Washington's on pace for more points than that. Galesburg isn't, so Galesburg really is going to need to step up and bring the offense quick. And I mean, we saw a very fast-paced game, but the fast pace was in favor of the Panthers. Mm-hmm. The silver,
silver streaks.
The reason I pause is because my brain went to I messed up last time as I started speaking. The silver streaks need to come back and be streaks. They need to be fast. They need to be lightning. But just being fast doesn't get you buckets. You need to be able to make the shots, and you need to just be able to stay calm and collected if you don't.
Most definitely. For Galesburg, their leading score that first half, and how about the hospitality here at Ottawa? Just first class. We got live stats, or a first half stat sheet brought to us here. Kaden, let's take a look at it. We'll go through the scoring first for Galesburg. 9 points so far for Zanaya Carter, and 5 for Ella Heckenroder, 2 for Grace Heckenroder, 1 for Kilgore, and 2 for Peck. Galesburg, though, has committed 10 turnovers. Washington's also committed 10, so I think both teams are going to want to be talking about turnovers here in the halftime locker room. Galesburg shooting 6 for 18 so far in this one, 33%, 1 for 6 from 3, but 6 for 7 from the line. So I think if you're Galesburg, you gotta try and get physical. You know, you can't, again, like they say, you can't kill an elephant with one dart. You know, you gotta just slowly just kind of creep back into it. Free throws will certainly help them, I think.
No, most definitely, John. I think another element of it is the turnovers really happened a lot in the first quarter. They got cleaned up as we progressed. They were still not perfect in that second quarter, but again, we don't have the breakdown in front of us, but they were a little bit cleaner in that first frame. They were a little bit cleaner in that second frame. You can't come out and make the mistakes and have to adjust this time around, because if you do that, you're going to be trailing too far in the fourth quarter for a comeback.
And for Washington, their leading scorer again, Avery Tibbs with 15 points, 6 for 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from deep. Becca McDougall, very strong first quarter, 11 points for her. They go with 3 rebounds. Danny Gaudet is on pace for a double-double, 7 points, 6 boards for her. Mazzy O'Brien, 2 points, 4 boards, 3 assists. Washington sharing the ball well, 9 assists on 15 field goals. Galesburg, 2 assists on their 6 field goals. The specialty stats here, Kaden, really jumps out. Points in the paint, Washington leads 20-10. They also lead 10-4 in points off turnovers and 6 zip in second chance points.
Yeah, hospitality here amazing, John. Never gotten a stat sheet hand delivered like we
during
do
a high
here
school
in Ottawa
game.
In a high school game. I've gotten it in my Bradley days, but not here at or not in a high school arena. Kingman Gym, a different animal. But, you know, to touch one more time on those Washington point totals that you said, Avery Tibbs with 15, Becca McDougall with 11. That's something we see every day. If you're a Washington Panthers fan, seeing those two get high-scoring outings, the thing that stood out to me is Becca McDougall came out firing from the arc in that first quarter.
Yeah.
She had 2 made and a couple more attempts. Normally you see Avery Tibbs shooting from beyond the arc. She didn't until her last 2 attempts, the corner 3, and then, as we know, a couple steps past the halfway line.
Well, what's really so impressive to me, Kaden, about this Washington team, seeing them, I've seen them a lot over the last couple weeks, and you know, common knowledge is, okay, you know, you got a lot of shooters. You got Tibbs, O'Brien. You know, you gotta respect those shooters. They're gonna shoot, and you gotta respect their forwards too. McDougall, Gaudet are probably, you look at it, they're probably gonna dice you up down in the paint. But really, it's just almost a reversal. You know, Tibbs has been very dangerous in the paint lately. We saw her get, kind of an up and under reverse layup. We saw her good at a hook shot. I mean, she has a deep bag of tricks. Then you see their forwards. You know, Gaudet didn't make a 3, I believe, in that first half, but she can certainly shoot the ball. And, you know, McDougall, obviously, as we saw, can shoot the 3. So when your guards can play like forwards and your forwards can play like guards, I mean, what do you do? It is just so tough to defend this Washington team as we close out here at halftime at Kingman Gym. Glad you're with us here on ClutchSportsIL.com. Again, alongside Caden Sexton, I am Jonathan Michael. And it'll be Washington ball to start here in this first half. And again, and I think quickly before we get going, Domino's now until March 2nd. Any crust, any toppings, $9.99. You get a nice, good looking pie at Domino's.com. So Tibbs will inbound it here. Galesburg bringing some pressure. And he'll feed it to McDougall here on the arc. Starting 5, same for Washington. O'Brien, Gaudet, McDougall, Donald, and Tibbs.
The only difference for Galesburg is thanks to the 3 fouls to Jocelyn Peck, they brought out Lily Furrow. The 3 fouls to Jocelyn Kilgore, however, did not stop her from coming back out to start the frame.
Yeah, so it's Kilgore alongside Ella Herkenroder and Zanaya Carter, who brings the ball up now after Adrian Donald double dribbled there and turned it over. Grace Heckenroder also on the floor for the Silver Streaks, as well as Kilgore, as you mentioned, and Lily Furrow. She's got it now in the high post at the free throw line, to be specific, guarded by Gaudet. Now Carter swings it around. Here's a 3 ball on the way. Ella Herkenroder, nothing but net. Good looking shot there for Galesburg and a strong start to the second half.
Yeah, you know, Ella came out with 5 points in that first half. You thought she was going to be the main scorer, but then Zanaya Carter lit things up.
Gaudet missed it near the post, but got her offensive miss. O'Brien, rather, tried to create space and pushed off as Ella Herkenroder went flying on the baseline into the other section of seats here. Seating sections on both baselines. Here at Kingman Gym, high capacity gym can really hold a lot of fans. And again, this place can get very, very loud. That's why so many people love it. Silver Streaks is a trail here now 38-22. As we'll get that up there on the screen. A foul on Washington goes on Gaudet. That is number 3 for her. So I'll put Kilgore to the line. Her first one comes up short.
Yeah, you know, one thing I'd like to touch on as we're kind of transitioning is we just named Mazzy O'Brien for that previous foul, not the last foul. You know, second team middle Illini, she has had a big impact on the season, but 1 point one made basket, 2 points in the first quarter. All she's put to the score sheet this contest. still making an impact being out there on the floor and being another option for the Panthers and Kim Barth.
Most definitely. She can heat up in a hurry, too. And, again, not just a scorer. 4 rebounds, 3 assists in that first half. She has it here, guarded on the perimeter. Now Donald dribbles in, inside the arc, feeds G'day, double team, kick out, open, McDougal, top of the key, no good. G'day the offensive board on Carter, and she got fouled. And great ball movement there on that possession for Washington, and they get rewarded for it, as G'day will head to the stripe. That one goes on Carter, her first foul tonight. And G'day's first free throw is off the attachment.
Yeah, G'day, that was her second or third missed from the line so far. Oh, you have to, yeah, you know, now we got a stat sheet in front of us from the first half.
And went 1 for 2 in the first half. Second one, though, is good, so she maintains their 50% mark. I gotta say, though, it does make a difference, you know, when you play in a gym you're not really used to playing in. The depth perception is a bit different, you know. You got, the walls are maybe closer or further away. Here, compared to at least Torrey Gym, where Washington's used to playing, the walls are a little bit further away back from where they would be back at Torrey Gym. So a bit of an adjustment there, but they have responded well. 39 points so far in the first about 18 minutes of this one. Here's Ella Herkenroder. Skip pass over to Carter. She's guarded by Spezio. Galesburg slowing it down a bit on this possession. Streaks go in the paint. Here's Kilgore turning around and making it.
You know, Kilgore had to sit for a lot of that first half thanks to the 3 fouls. She's proving however, the impact that Washington was able to make with her on the bench.
McDougal had a shot from the elbow that was off the mark, but another offensive board for Washington results in a bucket for Mazzie O'Brien, who's in the right place at the right time. And that's one thing you just can't do if you're Galesburg. You got given Washington 8 second chance points now, and they haven't gotten any of their own. 3 ball is no good. Offensive board here for the silver and black. Nice feed over to Peck. Gets her own miss. A 3rd chance. That one is up and good. 41-27, about 5 and change left to play. McDougal quickly the other way in the blink of an eye. Responds for Washington.
Yeah, that's her first points in a while after having to sit the last 5 or so in the second frame thanks to the fouls. She makes a big impact, but so does the big on the other end as that shot battered around.
And after a missed shot there, Galesburg was trying to get a jump ball. Had 2 people there on Donald who got that board, but instead they call the foul, and the possession arrow favors Washington as they now come our direction, right to left here in this second half. Some substitutions in. Redling Schaefer back in for the Panthers. As Tibbs speeds up the floor, Galesburg a bit of pressure. Tibbs handing it off to G'day, trying to find some space, driving in. She'll find McDougal, another 3, why not? That one, no, a bit too short. And now it's Ella Herkenroder up the other direction. Carter, shot fakes, kicks, foul before a 3-pointer that went down. Would have been Grace Herkenroder's first bucket here tonight. But that is going to be nulled after the foul on Redling Schaefer.
You know, Becca McDougal, 2 for 2 from the arc in the first half, 0 for 2 this half. It doesn't mean she can't keep shooting, but got to make sure you're not wasting those possessions because those 2 misses resulted in possessions for Silver Streaks.
Still a 16-point lead in case you're just tuning in or maybe tuning in after the start. Washington has been leading the entire way. They jumped out to a 7-0 advantage in the first 2 minutes and haven't looked back. Galesburg has cut it to as close as 8 as we get a reach-in foul there on the Panthers. That'll be their 4th of this 3rd quarter. So we talked about Lexi DeMott's squad getting a bit aggressive here in this 3rd quarter, and so far so good for them.
Yeah, not so good for Kim Barth. That's the 3rd foul on one of her stars in McDougal. Changing up the defense is something we know Kim Barth likes to do. We saw a zone, and now we're looking at a man, as that's a good bucket, however, for number 20.
That was Kilgore. That was a beautiful shot using the glass. Kind of a runner there, and they'll cut it back to 14. As Tibbs feeding Gaudet in the post. Intensity picking up ever so slightly. Gaudet's shot did not draw anything from the low block. Now Herkenrotter driving up on Redling Schaefer. Good ball movement. Now it's in the hands of Chloe May. Skip pass. Carter, 3-ball with Gaudet closing out. It's good. Life for the Silver Streaks after Zanaya Carter is up to 12.
Yeah, it's her first 3-ball, first points of this second half. Doesn't matter. She has made a huge contribution.
That'll cause Kim Barth to call a timeout with 3:21 to go. So, Katie, I was about to say, Galesburg, they've had some mini spurts. They haven't had any really runs, I would say, though. This, however, could be the start of one here and one that they would really need at an opportune time.
Well, when you're at an 11-point game, you've cut the deficit back. You're making those opportunities count on offense, and on defense, you're slowing them down. It's not about getting to stop every possession. It's about making their misses worth it. And that's what they've kind of been doing. Besides that kind of right place, right time bucket by Maisie O'Brien, the defense of Galesburg is getting the rebounds, making them take tougher shots, and have been executing better on the transitions.
Definitely some good points there. Galesburg has been good on the boards here in this third quarter. Yeah, I want to take a quick reminder and give a big shout out to Domino's. It makes a nice broadcast from Kingman Gym in Ottawa possible from now until March 2nd. Get any crust, any toppings on your pizza, online only deal at Domino's.com for the sweet low price of $9.99. I want to thank our good friends over there. Visit them at one of their many area locations. 3:21 to go here in quarter number 3. A sectional title berth again on the line here tonight. Washington comes in 32-1 on the year. Number 1 in Class 3A. Galesburg at 24-7. They reached as high as number 7 in the state AP rankings, but did not get above that. They are receiving votes as Spezio tried to find Redling Schaefer, who his head was not turned in the right direction. It's a turnover back to Galesburg.
Yeah, I mean, that was not it's hard to blame one play on anybody, but definitely just a miscommunication there. Had a player looking at their defender, not at the ball carrier, and a no-look pass sometimes bites you in the butt.
So now it's Galesburg with a chance to cut it to single digits. They trailed by 19 at the half after the half-court 3-ball from Avery Tibbs. Undoubtedly the play of the game so far. Tough look for Peck. She was double-teamed on the baseline, so shot it up, and it was too long. Tibbs brings in the miss, but it's intercepted by Ella Herkenrotter. She'll drive it up. Tibbs will lay back and not pick up the foul and allow Herkenrotter to score her 9th and 10th points of this one.
Yeah, McDougal was there and ready to, play that defense, but instead and help Tibbs. They could have easily stopped that possession, but instead decided, let's not take our foul. Let's let them have the 2 that they'd probably get from the stripe anyway. So
again, Washington with 4 fouls here in this third quarter. Redling Schaefer, an aggressive drive, but a bit too hard. McDougal there, though, is there for the second chance. She lays it in.
Yeah, 3 from Galesburg in the paint, but you got to get in front of Becca McDougal. There's a reason she makes such a big impact on games. So.
A great look there. A pass was zipped in to Zanaya Carter, who came flying into the paint, put up sort of a wild shot, but got fouled in the process. It'll go on Maisie O'Brien, her 2nd, and Washington's 5th. So that'll put Carter to the stripe. Again, just a freshman for Galesburg. Although these Washington players, they know a thing or two about starting as freshmen. Tibbs, McDougal, O'Brien, a lot of them are getting some big minutes starting since their freshman year. Carter's first free throw is off the mark. So this to get it back down to 10 with 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. That one also comes up short. Missed opportunity, and Gaudet finds Donald. Had a chance to run that one in. She'll slow it up. Tibbs in front of the Washington's bench.
Yeah, 3 from the charity stripe in the first, 0-2 here. That's not the same pace of play that the rest of the team has had this half.
Here's McDougal driving in for a mid-range, off the mark, rebounded by Ella Herkenrotter. All 3 Herkenrotters, Taylor, Ella, and Grace, all 5'7", all sophomores. Skip pass over to Chloe May, driving in under the arm of McDougal and got it to fall. It's 45-36, and that's May's first bucket for the junior. Here's rather good day with 2 defenders on her, just puts it up, and it's good. 47-36 now.
When she got the ball, she thought about a deep 2, but instead saw 2 defenders from Galesburg a little bit shorter than her in the paint, and instead drove and got the bucket.
Under a minute to play in quarter number 3. Galesburg has done their job, and that's slimmed this deficit down a bit. Give yourself a chance here in this fourth quarter. Chloe May with Tibbs on her, tried to find Furrow in the post. The pass went right, Furrow went left, and the ball goes in the front row of the bleachers and back to Washington. So 41 seconds to go as O'Brien brings it up, Caden. You know, common knowledge would think, okay, maybe you might slow it down, take the last shot. Washington, though, has shown that they're just going to, if they get a good look, they're going to shoot.
Well, they had somebody open on the arc.
Redling Schaefer's floater's no good, and now a chance for Galesburg.
Yeah, you know, they had 1 or 2 open. Instead, they drove, and Redling Schaefer didn't make the shot she wanted. But just like you said, they didn't feel the need to take that last shot.
So maybe it's sometimes an advantage, sometimes it can bite you in the butt. Galesburg with 5 to play. Here's Ella Herkenrotter, guarded by Gaudet, top of the key, double team coming, turnaround, wild shot, no good, offensive rebound, but the second chance shot from Furrow was after the buzzer, and it's 47-36. It will be Silver Streak's ball to start this fourth quarter. Would have been really nice if you were Galesburg to get that bucket, maybe get a little 2 for 1, starting with the fourth quarter with the ball, but they get that margin down from 19 down to 11 as they outscore Washington 17-9 in that third quarter. Had to do the math real quick.
No, I'm a sports comm major as well, so I understand math is not our strong suit, folks. But, you know, an interesting element there was Danny Gaudet's defense really was locked down and solid. She played her defender on man all the way down and then didn't get help D until the shot clock or until the game clock was about to expire. And you know, when you have a lot of trust in your players like Kim Barth does, you feel comfortable in that. But you know, Kim Barth likes to shake things up, likes to give a lot of defensive looks.
Yeah.
And I think the only time she's put 2 on somebody this whole night, I mean, like I said, we've seen 5, 10, probably a million that we haven't picked up on defensive looks for Washington tonight. But the only one that's really stood out to me is they doubled Jocelyn Peck at the beginning of this third quarter when she checked back in. Besides that, they've played man or zone primarily this contest.
I do like to switch up their defense. And remind you quickly, any crust, any topping pizza, now at Domino's, $9.99 from now until March 2nd if you order online at Domino's.com. So I was mistaken, Caden. Don't listen to me. Washington started the fourth quarter with the ball. It's started the third quarter with the ball as well, as Gaudet will slice into the lane, put up a shot. It's no good. Ball is bouncing around and will stay with the Panthers right here in front of us, right below us here in our corner balcony perch. Nice fan section showing up now for Ottawa. I see a lot more red coming in. These stands are really starting to fill up for the next one between Morton and Ottawa right after this, tipping off at approximately 7:30 or so. So stay tuned for that.
Red seats, red Morton, red Ottawa. I think we're about to have a red out, John.
Yep.
No, I mean, that last possession, the inbound, just like last time, just a little bit overthrown. Oh, I mean, Becca McDougal, you can be 5'11", but that doesn't mean you can bring everything in when you throw them high, and just watched it as it dribbled out of play.
So Galesburg with it now, trying to get this back to a single-digit game. It's a 3-ball from Herkenrotter. Foul, no bucket, the referee says. Ella Herkenrotter can't believe it. And, oh, that's just a tough one to swallow for Galesburg. That's an offensive foul on the Silver Streaks, and it goes on Lily Furrow. That'll erase a big 3 for Galesburg that could have cut it to an 8-point game. Quick score update again from our Harvey Newcomb at DMAC tonight. At the end of the third quarter, Monmouth Roseville leads DMAC 28-27. Chiefs getting all they can handle tonight.
Yeah, Joni Nightingale, very experienced coach, and they are going to count the bucket. The refs had a conference, and they're giving the 3 away. And Kim Barth, I mean, this Washington crowd silence after they just reversed the foul.
So they've still yet to put up, okay, now they put up the 3 on the scoreboard, so a bizarre call there. They initially said no bucket, but instead they're gonna give Ella Herkenrotter that 3, and it's an 8-point game. It's gotta roll with the punches now if you're Washington. O'Brien feeds it off to Gaudet at the top of the key, feeds Redling-Schaefer, and they're playing a wrestling match there on the ball, on the floor as the ball hit the deck, and a jump ball favors Galesburg. They can get this down to as close to as a 5-point game with 7 to play.
And you can hear a pin drop on one side of the gym right now, John.
They're watching with some nervous anxiety right now, but this Panthers team, though, does usually come up to play big in big moments. We'll see if they can do that again here tonight and put the Panthers in the sectional title game. It's Herkenrotter deep behind the arc. Washington decided not to put anyone right on her. Now they feed the post, and it's turned over by Lily Furrow. Couldn't hang on to it. Beautiful pass. McDougal up to Tibbs, and it just rolled off. Just didn't quite get the roll there, and it's the Silver Streaks the other way. Herkenrotter up to Carter in her office, which has been right in front of Galesburg's bench on the wing. They go cross court. Here's Grace Herkenrotter. Now back over. Carter guarded by McDougal. 5'6" on 5'10", that matchup. Now they'll go. Ella Herkenrotter feeding the post. Double team down there off the glass. No good from Kilgore. Second chance is up and good. I believe that was Kilgore who got her own miss, and it was.
Tibbs, quick transition, high, and it goes in off the glass. That's her first basket of the half, and then we have 5:45 left in the quarter.
Thanks for covering there for McCaden. Fast-paced action here in Ottawa. Only about less than an hour in real time since this one's tipped off. 3 ball on the way from Herkenrotter is no good. That was Grace who dialed that one up. Now a transition up to Redling-Schaefer. Can't get it to fall. Good day. Bodies hit the deck off of a Panther. And Dia Iyer on Washington's bench, can't believe it, stood up with her mouth agape saying, no way. But it goes back to Galesburg in an 8-point game with 5:20 to go here in the fourth quarter, and a timeout called by Lexi DeMott. Kaden Boyd, this one has gotten good.
Yeah, you know, it's always good to watch a close game. Maybe not if you're a fan of the one team, but it's always fun for the neutrals to watch a close game. You know, Galesburg really, they put the pedal to the metal there, and Washington was kind of playing slow that whole third quarter. The last 2 possessions was, let's Hail Mary it in a sense, down and get quick a striker, kind of like you're in soccer. Let's throw the Hail Mary, get the striker to go low and try and get the bucket underneath. It worked with Tibbs. It batted around when it was Gaudet's turn. Maisie O'Brien was there, not able to recover it. But Galesburg, that 3, we're going to be talking about that one for months if you're Washington, if this is a less than a 3-point victory.
Most definitely. But again, what can you do? Again, you just got to roll with the punches, especially in these big games. You can't spend too much time worrying about, why'd you call that? You just got to take it, and you built yourself a lead, and that's why you just keep on building this lead, because you never know when teams are going to make a big spurt. And again, Galesburg trailed 38-19 at the half and has outscored Washington by 11 here in the second half. This Galesburg team knows a thing or two about facing some adversity lately. They started the season 15-1 after they beat Muhammad at the Mattoon Holiday Tournament, and since then they've gone 9-6. So 2025 hasn't been quite as kind to them, but they are still showing, and they are going to be a threat here tonight. Silver Streaks with the ball. Another cross-court pass. They've been liking those tonight against this defense for Washington that's been switching between man and zone all night. A little bit of a 1-3-1 right now for the Panthers as Galesburg tries to find the open spot. Ella Herkenrotter at the top. Finds a very small spot to get a shot off, and it is an air ball and into the arms of Gaudet. McDougal feeding it. Gaudet, wing 3 ball. No good. Rebounded by Furrow. That would have been a big one for the Panthers. Now they'll find Carter. 3 ball for Galesburg comes up short. And O'Brien, a big rebound, and now she'll push, but she had it poked away from behind by Lily Furrow. And O'Brien tried to do the same, but instead she gruesome contact, and that'll be a Washington foul, their first of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, speaking of contact, Zania Carter's had 2 missed threes that after she's shot it, she got a little bump from the Panthers. I don't know if it's making the freshman a little bit nervous from around the arc. It's not been disrupting shots, and they haven't been fouls, but maybe making the freshman a little bit nervous as she's only made 1 3 tonight.
I wonder how Zania Carter, that freshman for Galesburg, is going to respond here in a pressure-packed game. I always wonder how they will be. Sometimes they're just like, hey, we don't really have any precedent to go off of. They're just kind of out there hooping, and she has been doing so for Galesburg tonight. 3 ball, top of the key from Grace Herkenrider's no good, but an offensive board, Furrow off the glass, no good. All nearly rimmed all the way around. Now McDougal picks up her dribble in trouble, turns it right over into the hands of Kilgore, and McDougal kind of threw a knee out there and impeded Kilgore, so that will be a Washington's second foul, and the fourth on Becca McDougal with 3:46 to go.
You know, I know that Zania Carter and Ella have the most points, but the X factor has to be Jocelyn Kilgore.
Yeah.
She's able to make points, make second chance points happen in the paint, grabbing those rebounds. She's been the X factor on defense, being able to guard in the post, being able to guard from the wing, being able to follow, being able to play zone. And it's just, they need to get the ball in her hands more, as there's a travel there in the paint by Lily Furrow. It gets Washington's possession.
8-point game. Galesburg has struggled to get it below 8 for pretty much this entire contest. Jenna Spezio checks out for Washington. Mazzy O'Brien comes back in. They'll inbound it to her. Streaks showing some pressure now. Ella Herkenrider on O'Brien, who nearly lost her dribble. Now slicing over, finding Gaudet. No need to rush now if you're Washington. They do like to play fast, but you can value your possessions here. What a feed from Gaudet. O'Brien cut into the lane, missed it first time. Second time is no good. And now here comes Carter the other way. Finds an open spot on the left block. Gaudet, better defense, no foul. Still with Galesburg. Grace Herkenrider, sidestep 3 ball, off to the right. Another offensive board for Galesburg, and it rolls in. Guess who? It's Jocelyn Kilgore. It's a 6-point game.
It's just what I was talking about. The press is on. McDougal got mixed up in the press there.
Oh, and she got fouled hard there. Looks like she's going to be...
Her face made a major reaction on that hit.
That was Ella Herkenrider coming in hard there and committing the foul. Galesburg has definitely been the better team in the second half on the boards. They have gotten a lot more second chance points, and they've prevented Washington's second chance opportunities, at least from converting them.
You know, one thing that to note is, I mean, the press back on and harder than ever. Tibbs trying to find somebody.
And Kim Barth calls timeout. Galesburg head coach Lexi DeMont is loving it. Her team making a very spirited charge here with 2:46 to go. Drama really picking up here at Kingman Gym, Katie. This is playoff basketball. What more can you ask for? You gotta love it.
You gotta love it, and you know, now it's not one side, it's both sides right now, that the air is tense, that pin can drop. But what I was trying to say on that inbound is, you know, Kim Barth never hesitated when Becca McDougal got the 4th foul. She got the 4th foul with a little bit more than 4 minutes on the clock. I get it, it's your number 2 player, but she has to play 4.5 minutes of clean basketball. I mean, now she only has to play 2:46 of clean basketball.
Yep,
but
back on the floor now.
She's been in trouble with that press twice and has gotten flustered a couple times dealing with the press that Galesburg is putting on. It's just going to be an interesting scene and an interesting thing to eliminate. Galesburg fans trying to coach from the stands. I see at least 10 black shirts trying to tell them to get off press.
They'll set up here. A nice screen set by McDougal to free up Tibbs, who dribbles in double coverage. Faces that quite a bit with a player of her caliber. Now it's Gaudet there on the wing. Guarded tightly by Furrow. Both teams with 2 fouls here in this 4th quarter, so it might be a bit before we see any bonus free throws. Tibbs, and she got bumped there. Her face kind of jerked backwards, and that one I think might be on Furrow, and that would be her 4th if so. That is the case.
I'm not sure if that is her 4th, because the one that was on her from the 3 ball, or the one that they took away from the 3 ball was on her.
A foul before the inbound on Galesburg came from the far side on the referee who wasn't facing the action, but a whistle there goes on Grace Herkenrider. That's her 1st, so now that's very quickly 4 fouls for Galesburg, and Washington's shooting free throws for the remainder of this sectional semifinal. Beautiful back cut there. Tibbs trying to find Spezio. And the ball just kind of like a bar of soap, juggled it out of her hands, and it goes back to Galesburg.
Yeah, the momentum was pushing her towards out of bounds, and she wasn't able to stop the juggle before she stepped out.
It could be a one-score game if Galesburg can get a 3 on this possession. They fed it to Grace Herkenroder in the corner, and then a kicked ball drew the whistle. 49-43 your score, as you see, with 2:07 to go here in this fourth quarter. Washington had 38 at the half after that half-court triple from Avery Tibbs. And boy, imagine what this game would be like if she didn't sink that triple. Those 3 points end up being a big difference maker in this one. Silver Streaks inbound. They go to Kilgore, finding space, but can't convert, but it bounces off of the hands of G'day and stays with Galesburg. But a nice job creating space there from Jocelyn Kilgore. 5'10" sophomore forward.
And another 3 that made the impact was, of course, Ella's from the arc that they called back.
Inbound layup, good. Lily Furrow, 4-point game. Washington sensing some pressure now.
That's Furrow's first basket of the game, and it couldn't have came at a better time for Galesburg.
And a foul called on the Silver Streaks. They can't believe it. Grace Herkenroder caught a Panther across as they dialed up that pressure, so it will send Tibbs to the line, and that's not the best side if you're a Galesburg fan. Tibbs shot 1 free throw on that and 1 back in the first half. She's got 17 points tonight. McDougal's got 15. G'day's got 10. Tibbs now has 18 after sinking the first, and Washington's up to 50.
We've seen Ella and Grace a lot, but just a quick note, all 3 triplets started this game. We haven't seen Taylor put anything on that stat sheet.
Tibbs is first, bounces around, no good. Gonna be a close call. It stays with Washington. G'day and Furrow got tied up there. It was really a 50-50 call happening right in front of us, and then the Panthers get the benefit of the doubt.
I think they called the foot on the line as the reason for that one, not who touched it last.
So now Washington in no hurry. They don't even have to shoot. They can just pass the ball around with 1:40 to go. But Galesburg's defense can definitely still try and force a turnover as we're under 100 ticks to play. G'day drives in. Furrow falls over. They slow it down, kick it back out into McDougal. Now O'Brien driving in. She had it off of a leg, and now here comes Carter. Redling Schaefer poked it out temporarily. Now Carter recovers. Feed over. Grace Herkenroder's 3 is blocked partially by McDougal, and Tibbs got fouled. Galesburg fans don't like that, but I think that was a good call. I did see some contact there as Tibbs went up in the air to try and grab that ball after a partial block there from Becca McDougal. What a play there from the junior forward.
Right, it's hard if you're the fans of the team that the foul is against when that kind of happened on the side. You know, the ball's not in that general area yet. It's on its way, but it's not there yet. But you know, when you're going up and you get spun around, there's not much more justification than that whistle.
And so that is now 5 on Lily Furrow. So her night is through. 5'9" junior finishes with 3 points, but came up with some big rebounds. And it's Tibbs to the line for Washington in the bonus. Knocks down her first. It's back to a 6-point lead for the Panthers. Jocelyn Peck is the one that come in for her fellow forward Furrow. Say that 3 times fast. Tibbs is good for the second time.
Well, Peck hasn't been playing much because of the fouls, but she made a huge difference every time she's been on the floor. Already can see her in the paint with McDougal.
Galesburg can't afford many more empty possessions. Just over a minute to play. They're down by 7. They have not led in this one, but boy, they've gotten close. Cross-court pass. Anaya Carter's 3 is short. McDougal is there for the board. She lost control of it. Ball goes off of a Silver Streak and back to Washington. Alexi DeMott having some words there for the official before nodding her head, says, okay, yeah, I know what, you're right there. So 51.3 to go. Washington bounces it in the backcourt. Redling Schaefer finds Tibbs. She gets it across the timeline. Now into trouble. Now they bring up that press, that double team. Washington breaks it. Now it's O'Brien. 40 seconds to go, and I think you got to start fouling now after Washington, and they do as Carter pushes O'Brien and sends her to the line.
Now it's time for Washington to start getting the ball in the hands of the people you want to go to the line, because it's not about scoring anymore. It's about who's going to take the shots.
So it's O'Brien to the line. Jim quiets down. It's about the quietest we'll hear it for the rest of the night. Again, we'll have Morton and the sectional host Ottawa coming up at approximately 7:30 in the other sectional semifinal. Could be potentially Washington versus Morton Part 4 if those two teams win. O'Brien missed the first but made the second. It's back to up to an 8-point lead here for the Panthers. Galesburg has got to start getting desperate, and they call a timeout here with 34.9 to go.
You know, Galesburg, it's hard when you're to critique when you're trying so hard at the end of the game, but they really let a lot of seconds tick off the clock their last possession, trying to find that perfect shot. I mean, the ball was thrown across the arcs, back and forth between the two corners 3 times. That takes time, and when you're playing right now, you're not playing right now against the Washington Panthers, you're playing against the clock.
Yeah, most definitely. And if Galesburg maybe has had a couple more minutes, the way this second half has gone, maybe that would be enough to get them over the edge. But 8 points in 34.9 seconds against the #1 team in the state is going to be a tall task. I think a three-pointer at some point has to be part of the equation for the Silver Streaks. A turnover also has to be part of the occasion as well. If you can get a 3, a turnover, another 3, then boom, you got a 2-point game, and maybe you got plenty of time. But again, time is not their friend right now, but boy, have they really been impressive here in this second half.
Yeah, John, there's no shot clock working against the Washington Panthers, but you still got to get the ball across in 10 seconds. You're going to have to force a turnover if you're Galesburg to try and change the momentum at the very least.
And as if they get a bucket here. Now under 30 to go, trying to get something going, and they're just holding it up top with Peck, trying to wait for someone to get free, and they have not. Carter, though, drove in, got fouled, nearly converted an and one, but will head to the line. So now you got to hope that Carter makes both of these, and that if you send Washington to stripe, that they miss theirs. The problem is there's no real good person to foul if you're Galesburg.
Just got to try and instead of finding who do you want to foul, it might just be who do you think you're going to have the best chance of getting the pickpocket on, and then if I get the foul, and then if I draw the foul, okay, they're going to go to the line anyways. That was the most probable solution at the end of the day. Danny Gaudet with that foul as Zaniah Carter makes both.
And it's back to a 6-point deficit for Galesburg. Tibbs pushing it up, and she is going to get fouled there by Grace Herkenroder, who, again, unless I'm mistaken, has not scored in this game, but has provided a big impact. She's actually got 2. She had 2 free throws back in the first half. So, again, she's been providing some big minutes here for Galesburg. Both these teams just only playing about 6 or 7 players the entire game, so definitely some tired legs as Tibbs knocks down the first. Interesting to note, Caden, that the sectional title is going to be on Thursday, so these teams are all going to have really one day to rest. Probably going to be a pretty light practice tomorrow, and you got to get right back to it here on Thursday night as Tibbs goes 2 for 2. Washington looks like they're going to survive here from Kingman. A deep 3 ball is no good. McDougal brings it in off the glass, and now all Tibbs has to do is just cross the timeline. Galesburg is still providing some pressure, and the clock will run out, and Washington lives to see another day. Survive and advance is the motto in the playoffs, and that's what the Panthers do. They move on to Thursday's Ottawa sectional title, 55-47, over the Galesburg Silver Streaks.
Look, you want to win your games in glorious fashion. Does not matter when you're playing in March. All that matters is having the higher score at the end of the day. And let's be honest, that was not a clean second half for the Washington Panthers. Kim Barth going to have some things to go clean up before they play either Morton or Ottawa back in this building on Thursday. But right now, that's not the message. The message is we survived. Let's go celebrate on the bus ride home and think about our opponent tomorrow and obviously on Thursday.
Most definitely. I know Kim Barth's mindset, she said it during the regular season too, as Washington was building what, very close to being an undefeated season. She just said, we got to approach every game as if we're 0-0. And she posted on the Washington girls basketball Twitter account today saying, hey, we're back to 0-0 this week. And really, again, the biggest thing now is just going 1-0 in every game. And it doesn't matter how you do it, you just go 1-0. in each game, and that's what Washington did in that win. 55-47, again, your final. Congrats to Galesburg on a fantastic season and a very strong second half. Again, really liked what I saw. A lot of aspects from them. They got better as the game went along, and again, I think the time was their biggest enemy. But again, a team with not a ton of seniors. Again, hats off to Jocelyn Peck, Cora Johnson, and Riley Clark. Also, Annabelle Giles, Silver Streak seniors on a great career with the Silver Streaks. But again, it's a Galesburg team that I think we're definitely going to see back in the playoffs in next season. They're part of the equation that makes Central Illinois girls basketball in Class 3A so good.
No, they really are. It's a team that, a little bit away from our area in Peoria, but we still see a lot of these teams go up there, host Galesburg. They're a team that they played a better third quarter than arguably the best third quarter team in Class 3A tonight. So.
And that was big, coming into halftime, given Washington's recent trends, I thought, hey, they might just continue to run away with this game, and we're going to be having to get into our blowout material here by the fourth quarter, but no. Galesburg came out and, major hats off again to head coach Lexi DeMott, her second season. She's building, not building because it's already been there, but just continuing a strong legacy at Galesburg. And how about Kim Barth, too, again at Washington, just now one win away from her first sectional title, Caden. Again, don't want to jinx it, don't want to look ahead too much. But if they're able to win on Thursday, not only would be her first sectional title at Washington, would be her 200th career win. She's down to 199-60. So what a fantastic year that she and the Panthers are having. Haven't got our official final stat total yet, but unofficially leading scorers from this one, Avery Tibbs scores 18 for the Panthers, 15 in the first half, just 3 in the second. Becca McDougal with 15 points overall. She got them off to a really fast start. Can't understate what she did in that one. Adrian Donald had 2, Ainsley Redling Schaefer with 2, Mazzy O'Brien with 4, and Danny Gooday with 10 for Washington in that game. And for Galesburg, it was Zanaya Carter with 12, Ella Herkenroder with 13, Jocelyn Kilgore, who you said, Caden, big second half player for them. They wouldn't be where they were if it wasn't for Kilgore. She got 9, Jocelyn Peck with 4, Furrow with 3, Chloe May with 2 for the Silver Streaks, as Morton and Ottawa now take the floor for the second semifinal. So any just overall general thoughts from that first semifinal, Caden? One that was highly entertaining, both sides of the ball.
Galesburg was able to come back and make the third quarter matter. They were able to make Washington make them miss, and they were able to get those rebounds. I think if we want to highlight one thing from Galesburg, it's their ability to rebound, lacking the height that Washington has. Mm-hmm. Washington, however, able to be consistent and make their shots when they need to. They can take some breaths. Even when they were when they were only up by 6 points, there was smiles on those girls' faces on misses. They're out there having fun. And when you're able to brush off a play and just think about the next one, like the Kim Barth mentality has been, when you have that mentality, it's hard to beat. When you're able to sit there and you're able to smile even after missing a bucket, like I saw Mazzy O'Brien, like I saw Danny Gooday do, it's not that they're happy that they're missing the shot, it's that they're like, all right, sounds good, happy to be out here, time for the next play. And that's the mentality that winners have.
Most definitely. Well, more fun is in store for Washington. They will return here to Ottawa and historic Kingman Gym on Thursday. Going to be lots of orange and lots of black here for that one. We'll also be here for that one too as well. But we still got more basketball coming your way. Again, the Morton Potters and the Ottawa Pirates will battle it out in tonight's second sectional semifinal. We will keep it here. We will go muted for a couple minutes. You'll catch our breaths and reset. You can keep it right here. You can also take a break too if you want. Join us in approximately about, we'll say maybe 10 minutes or so, and we'll come back with pregame coverage for Morton and Ottawa. But for now, your final score tonight on the first semifinal, Washington 55, Galesburg 47. We'll talk to you in a couple minutes for more IHSA Class 3A girls basketball. Welcome in to Kingman Gym here in Ottawa. One sectional semifinal down, one more to go. It features one of the area's most dynasty-like teams in the Morton Potters, and a team that hasn't won a regional title since 2012-2013, but did so last week in the host Ottawa Pirates. Should be a great one here from Kingman. For Jonathan Michael here alongside Caden Sexton. And Caden, two teams, as we noted very early on, red and white striped warm-ups for both of these teams. Maybe we'll see a similarly close game here as well, but it should be another good game after we just saw Washington beat Galesburg 55-47 in the first semifinal.
These teams are similar and opposite at the exact same time. You know, the first group of girls walked out, and I was like, you know, that's a white shirt, that's red and white pants. All right, red and white striped pants. I was like, all right, that could be either side. Let's see what the next group comes out in. And the next group came out, and they were wearing a red shirt with red and white striped pants. And I'm like, all right, sounds like this is going to be a game where I mess up my words 25 times. And that's exactly what this gym is, as one side's red and white, the other side is red and white. Looks like our student section for Ottawa is wearing all white, but the band and the cheerleaders aren't all red. John, if we get confused under 10 times tonight, I'll call that a win.
I certainly would as well. Ottawa's student section showing out tonight here underneath the basket to the right side. They must have missed the memo a little bit because they're dressed in white, and that is what Morton's colors are tonight. Potters are in their home whites because they are the upper seed in this regional. So technically, Ottawa is the away team in their own gym here tonight. Potters in their white uniforms, they have the red letters and numbering, gray trim. Pirates in their away reds and white letters and white numbers. So again, lots of red and white, a lot of great basketball coming your way. Let's take a quick look at both of these teams here, Caden. Morton comes in number 6 ranked in Class 3A, 24-6 on the season. Ottawa comes in with a similar record at 24-7. However, I think the big difference between these teams is who they faced. Morton has faced a little bit tougher of a schedule than Ottawa, but the Pirates, again, despite them not facing maybe as good of a schedule, have been playing some very good ball lately.
No, they have been, John, and you know, just because you don't get a win, it doesn't mean you didn't play well. They had an incredible game against Washington earlier on this year where they got a win, and they got a game where they got a loss, but still played strong throughout. You look at Ottawa, and it's not a team to laugh at one bit. 24-7, 7-3, and second in place in Interstate 8 play. It's, I mean, coming off of a long winning streak, they've won their last 9, including an OT thriller against Kankakee to take the regional on their last time out.
And I'll really get them going to energize them to play the sectionals on their home court. We'll step aside quickly for the national anthem and come back with tip-off and starting lineups here in just a few moments here from Kingman Gym in Ottawa. You're watching Clutch Sports Media. You hear a wonderful rendition of the national anthem from Ottawa's band, which is very decorated, as you can tell here inside Kingman Gym. Lots of state champion banners, 2012, 2013. I even see one 1983, one of the best here in Central Illinois. getting us going here tonight. Again, Jonathan Michael here alongside Caden Sexton over to my left. And, Caden, you mentioned Ottawa comes in after an overtime win over Kankakee. So, they haven't been quite as dominant in the playoffs, although Morton, they squeaked by a good Lincoln team, 48-40 in their regional title game. Had to face some adversity, but again, rolled through it. And that's what the postseason is all about, right? We just saw the #1 team, Washington, face some big trouble against Galesburg. I'm sure Morton, even though they might be the favorites, I think they're still going to face some adversity tonight. It's just about how will you respond and what Morton team will we see. This team has been very good at times. This team also hasn't played up to their potential at times. I'm curious to see what we're going to see here tonight.
You hit the nail right on the head, John. The other thing that I think you got to mention is it's a away game on paper, lower seed, whatever you want to call it, for Ottawa. They're playing in front of their home crowd. For the first game, we had half of the section far from us filled with Washington orange and black. We had a decent amount of Galesburg black on our side. There is very few room to sneak in on our side right now, the side designated to Ottawa as the home team. And Morton not even taking up one section. The noise in here is going to be a big factor. I mean, another thing to really quickly touch on, it's just the factor of the group. You've got your band up top. You've got your cheerleaders down below. Morton has half a section backing them and then their teammates.
Well, it is a very big gym here, Kingman Gym. Lots of capacity. Also, again, got those 2 or 3 rows right down near the court. They got the best seats in the house tonight. So a couple Potters and Pirates fans down there too as well. A lot of fans here in the seating section right in front of us behind the basket. So a lot of places you can have a vantage point from here tonight. And so this side, again, like you said, Ottawa's side about 80% full. This is going to feel like a true road game for Morton tonight. So we'll see how they respond. They huddle up, and before get ready for tip-off. Morton starters will bring them to you. Katie Brock, a 5'1" senior guard. Julia Laufenberg, 5'10" senior forward. Abby Van Menen, 6' sophomore forward. Ellie Van Menen, 5'9" senior guard, and Paige Selke, 5'10", sophomore forward. Normal 5 for Morton, who wins the tip here. Ottawa's starting 5 is Skylar Dorsey, a 5'11" senior guard. She's joined by Ella Schmitz, a 5'8" senior guard. Haley Larson, a 5'10" senior forward, as Abby Van Menen drives in for the game's first bucket. And it's Morton 2, Ottawa zip here after the first possession. Pirates' other 2 starters are Marley Orlandi, a 5'10" senior guard, and Mary Stisser, a 5'6" junior guard.
Morton brought the press off the first possession, and it almost resulted in a transition bucket. However, just to be safe, the Pirates kicked it out.
They go through their first possession here. It's Stisser up top, tightly guarded by Brock and Laufenberg, and threw it into no man's land. No Pirates were in the vicinity, and dribbles right calmly into the hands of Bob Becker in his 26th season with the Morton Potters. 628 and 182 all time. Definitely a Hall of Fame career for him, no doubt. Beautiful feet from Abby Van Menen down to Ellie. That pass hit a leg, and it goes back the other direction with Ottawa. They're going right to left towards us. Morton going left to right in front of the Ottawa student section and band and cheerleaders here in this first half. Here's Stisser playing catch with Orlandi near the volleyball line. Now they'll give it to Schmitz. Back over to Orlandi. She dials up a 3 that's too strong, and Paige Selke brings in the miss for Morton. Brock pushing up to Laufenberg. Now Selke finding Abby Van Menen in the corner, and she traveled with it. Rather, that was Ellie Van Menen. Took 2 steps and got a little bit too antsy there after catching that one. Saw the open lane there on the baseline.
A quick note, John, it's a different refereeing crew, so these coaches don't know what to expect if they were watching the first game, hoping to get some signs on what they could get away with.
Good point there. Katie Brock brings in a miss for Ottawa. She kicks it over. 3-ball open. Laufenberg, no good. Brock fought for the board hard against Haley Larson, but the senior Larson, who outsizes Brock by 9 inches, takes it away. Now here's Schmitz for Ottawa, kicking over, swinging it around. Skylar Dorsey, an open 3 is good, and that'll ignite the Ottawa crowd.
Yeah, Dorsey's a player committed to Olivet Nazarene, one of the top senior guards, somebody that is definitely a force to be reckoned with for Ottawa. Left open on the arc for a second, but Katie Brock flying all over on defense, was able to make a contention, not able to stop the basket.
Ellie Van Menen drives in, her shot no good. Ottawa brings it in. Skylar Dorsey had to play volleyball, I believe. She's actually playing volleyball at Olivet Nazarene, as is her sister Ayla Dorsey, who's also a senior on this Ottawa squad. So some multi-sport athletes here for the Pirates, as Morton, or rather Ottawa, turns it back over. 3-2, Pirates lead here, 5:15 to go in the first quarter. I want to thank our great sponsor, Domino's, for sponsoring tonight's broadcast and making it possible. Here's Laufenberg, tight defense faced against Orlandi. Now Abby Van Menen drives in and draws the foul, and that'll be the first one of this game.
Goes to Mary Stisser, the junior guard, 5'6", for Ottawa.
So now Abby Van Menen, who scored 7 points in their win over Lincoln. Chance to add her first point here. That was no good, and the Ottawa student section lets her have it there. Foul for Ottawa went on Stisser.
And they've got white pom-poms that they are going and waving in the air frantically. Worked for the first, not the second.
Almost looks like Penn State, they do their wideouts and they, they play their chants. It's one of those dark, whiteout games. You see everyone's shaking their pom-poms. Looks like what Ottawa's got here, albeit on a much smaller scale, but still a good crowd here in Kingman Gym.
Ottawa's gotten past the press twice with the man advantage, and neither time did they try and capitalize on it.
Again, Morton is a team that's strong in the paint, especially with both Van Menens and Paige Selkes. We get a three ball on the way, and it's up and good. Marley Orlandi knocking it down, and that gets it to a 6-3 lead. Orlandi is definitely, I think, the player to watch for Ottawa. She had 12 points in that regional title win over Kankakee. 1,000 career point scorer for the Pirates.
Yeah, she's got 9 offers right now to move on and play more after this. 1,000 career point score, definitely the piece you want to guard, keep that extra eye on if you're Morton and you're Brock.
Selke took it in, working in the post on Haley Larson, and drew the foul. So that'll be Ottawa's second and the first on Larson. So we'll get a look at Selke, who shoots a 71% free throw shooter, and was recently named a Mid-Illini first-team all-conference player for the Potters, as they get some substitutions. Peyton Hayes and Abby Brooks coming in off the bench.
And it's not just that free throw shot. It's her 15.6 points a game, her 5.8 rebounds a night in Mid-Illini play that earns that first-team all-conference slot. You don't get it, you earn it, and she definitely did.
And she's only a sophomore for Morton. Hard to believe. She's been a big contributor last 2 seasons. Missed her second. So Ottawa leads at 6-4 halfway through the first quarter. And throughout this one, we'll keep you updated on score updates in 2A action. Bloomington Central Catholic and Peoria Notre Dame. Our own Harvey Newcomb is in the gym at DMAC tonight. And Ottawa turns it over in the corner. In case you were curious, DMAC barely scraping by Monmouth Rhodesville. 3-point game. And they move on to Thursday's sectional title. I'll also keep you posted as Pekin taking on Normal Community, Class 4A action, and Illini Bluffs down in Class 1A, looking to make another deep playoff run. As here's Peyton Hayes with it. Ottawa's defense just right up in Morton's shirts all game so far. As Brock is with it, trying to put some moves on Ella Schmitz. Kicks back out, drive by Claire Ceresa into the game for the first time. Selke getting big on the baseline and got it to fall after a few bounces on the rim.
Yeah, definitely a more aggressive game than the first one we witnessed. Both teams a lot more physical on defense and on the offensive side of the ball, if we're being honest, driving into the paint, trying to make more happen, especially there with Katie Block, who's jumping up, swatting a pass away for a block in transition.
Katie Brock, who turned into Katie Block, and rightfully so right there. She got her hands up, knocked that pass away, took it back down. Morton not able to convert, though. They'll give it back to Ottawa with 2:55 to go. Again, very nice crowd here on hand in Kingman Gym. Many people's favorites, or at least one of their favorites in the entire state. I gotta say, It might be my favorite in the entire state of the ones that I've been to, although I haven't been to quite as many as some other more well-traveled folks.
Yeah,
at least statewide.
I told Bradley videographer Jacob Steinberg I was coming out today. He said best gym in Illinois.
Haley Larson, bucket down low for Ottawa. They've been taking it down low and knocked down the 3 earlier from Orlandi. And they lead 8-6. Pass deflected off of the Pirates. Back to Morton. I thought that one went off of an Ottawa player, but man, that was from the furthest away that we could see here from our vantage point. So Pirates will try and expand upon this lead. In the corner, Dorsey kicks it back out. Now they go over Orlandi in the corner. It's getting by Selke. And she had it stripped away. Now here comes Katie Brock. She's got no one in front of her and lays it in. Brock is such a menace on defense and so quick in transition.
I mean, I don't know if she's breathing out there. She is bouncing between everybody. Makes the point, now goes and guards both defenders that have the ball. Or offenders that have the ball.
A relentless motor, but Haley Larson gets behind the Morton defense and lays it back up and in. So we continue our seesaw affair so far. Here's Brooks at the top of the key. Now it's Brock. She tried to feed Selke, who just started her roll a bit too premature. Ball, though, poked out by Claire Cerisa. And it will stay with Ottawa as we get Anya Ruxlow into the game for Morton, along with Abby Van Mennen coming back in.
And subbing out Katie Brock, the name we've probably called the most this evening so far.
Inbounds pass goes to Orlandi. She lays it up and in. Nice little spin put there on the English on the inbounds pass to get that one in.
Nice English on the inbound and a good putback with contention and some physicality in the paint.
Ottawa's all over the place on defense. Haley Larson comes out of nowhere and forces a turnover. Pirates lead 12-8. Orlandi, one-handed floater is good. That's 7 points for her. And what a start here for the host. This home court advantage, Kaden, you can't understate it. It's going to play a big factor here tonight.
Well, you see a lot of student sections that are based in the, sometimes they're based in both sides, but right now the student section is based in the side that Morton is shooting on, and I really think that has played a contribution. They've been noisy, they've had their towels, they've made an impact every time Morton has had the offensive possession.
Well, yeah, definitely, because normally you would have the visitors shoot into the student section, if that makes sense, in the second half, when the buckets are bigger.
Right.
But because Ottawa is the road team in their home gym tonight, it's a little bit reversed, so maybe that'll allow Ottawa to get out to a better start, and so far they have. 14-8 here with 1 minute to play in the first quarter. And again, I want to thank our great sponsor tonight, Domino's. I'm going to shout them out. From now until March 2nd, get a load of this deal. If you go on Domino's.com, online order, either carryout or delivery, you can get any crust, any topping pizza for $9.99 each, Kate. And I got to be honest, I didn't know about that deal before tonight, but now I do. And I will 100% be taking advantage of it, and you should too as well. I want to thank our good friends over there at Domino's. So Marley Orlandi, Caden, 7 points already, just had 12 in a low-scoring game back in that regional title. Look, this one's got a bit more of a feeling. This one's going to be a, more of a shootout affair as Potters turned it over. Abby Brooks wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it's not even that they're making, that was one of the first mistakes they've made. It's more been the ferocity and the physicality of the Pirates.
They go for a three ball in the corner. Skylar Dorsey's shot was no good. Rebound into the hands of Hayes, a 5'6" sophomore guard off the bench who averages a little over 4 points per game. Nice drive in there by Abby Van Mennen, and she gets fouled. That's one of the best things you can do when you're trying to kind of suck the air back out of the gym and take away the home court advantage. Get big, draw a foul, shoot some free throws, and get some points the easy way.
Yeah, Marley Orlandi, probably this, it wouldn't be sad to say, or a hard fact to say, the kind of star, at least for the first half, but definitely for this team with that foul. Definitely not a player you want getting in foul trouble, only one, but her 7 points have really been the spark of this offense, and then she's been on the transition defense like no one else.
Yeah, she has been the Energizer Bunny for Ottawa so far. Potters inbound it, find it to Van Mennen, And driving in, two Pirates on one Potter. It's a jump ball, and it goes back to the Pirates with 25.6 to play.
Yeah, there's two defenders in front trying to stop the way to the basket. One flew in from behind, forcing a jump.
So Ottawa could have the last say of this first quarter. Washington, we see them across the way. They're getting some scouting in. Definitely going to be watching pretty much all of this one, I would guess. See who they're going to face on Thursday. They know one of these teams very well. Faced Morton 3 times so far. It's the only team that's beat Washington this season. And they've also faced Ottawa too. They beat them 54-17 in this gym. That was the last home loss for the Pirates.
Yeah, 16-1 in this building this year.
And you can easy to see why. Orlandi driving in, a tough angle shot is no good. Ellie Van Minen gets the board, shoots from half court. She got fouled on a shot from half court. That's not a good decision there from Haley Larson. And Ellie Van Minen kind of went flying. It kind of fell forward there on that. So a chance to cut this down to a one-score game with 0.2.
That's the cost of playing such aggressive defense. When you're going balls to the walls, it's just really hard to be able to contain yourself, especially when a last-second shot like that, you're shooting a couple steps behind. That would have been better probably because of the falling down if she made it than the Avery Tibbs half-quarter we saw in the first game.
Yeah.
But, you know, on a shot like that, the odds of it going in are so low that now you're just giving them 3 free ones instead of watching the clock run out with the ball go not even near the hoop.
And the first 2 are good for Ellie Van Menen. And in case you didn't tune in and listen to us for the first game, Avery Tibbs for Washington in the end of the first half had a kind of a hook shot, a corner 3, and then hoisted up a half-court shot that went in at the buzzer. They make it 38-19. Ellie Van Menen makes all 3 from the line. Time expires. It's Ottawa 14, Morton 11 through 1 quarter here in Kingman Gym.
I mean, John, a factual statement is that foul made it a one-possession game for Morton coming into the second quarter, something that they haven't had since that timeout that Coach Bob Becker called.
Most definitely. And as we get a quick break again, just started them out, but why not do it again? Domino's, our good friends over there, running a great special. You can order at Domino's.com from now until March 2nd. Whether you want carryout or delivery, you can get any crust, any topping pizza for $9.99. Now usually you maybe do delivery if maybe sometimes the weather isn't so good, but I mean, how about the weather we're having right now, kid? And not to bring up a cliched topic of conversation, but I didn't have to wear a coat today. Just beautiful weather outside, and every time it seems like it comes to Ottawa, instead of the top of the first brackets, it seems like spring is just right around the corner every time I come here.
Yeah, you know, the beautiful Starved Rock is around the corner. I go to Starved Rock camping in November. I go Starved Rock hiking in January. But it's different when you're kind of here in that right at the tip of March time of year when, like you said, we're wearing a sweatshirt and we're kind of even feeling a little bit warm.
Well, plenty of body heat here in this gym. A lot of fans packed in here. That's not the fullest we've ever seen it. Obviously, there have been some super sectionals we've seen in this gym, some classics. Metamora boys basketball has been here. As Morton starts the second quarter on a great feed, Paige Selke at the feed from Ellie Van Menen and lays it in for 2. Back to a 1-point game. Kaden, I actually missed a turn on our way here to Ottawa. We actually drove through Starved Rock State Park on our way here, so we got here, maybe a little bit later than we wanted to, but we took the scenic route. So
yeah, nothing wrong with being late if you enjoy your time, and we enjoyed our drive.
Most definitely. We've enjoyed the basketball once we've gotten here to Ottawa. Working on a possession here, trying to safeguard their lead. Mary Stitzer driving in on Abby Van Menen, creating space with her hand, and count. No, that's an offensive foul. That's what I thought the whistle was initially. And she kind of pushed off there on Abby Van Menen and gives it back to the Potters as Brock brings it back up. She feeds it over to Laufenberg, senior forward for Morton. Feeds it to Selke. Her shot no good, but Abby Van Menen there for cleanup duty, and the lead right back into the hands of Morton.
You know, I've seen Paige Selke in the last 2 possessions get battered around in that paint, but she's using her body and being physical. Just like there, the 24 matchup as Ashlyn Gainry gets rejected by Abby Van Menen.
Yeah, Van Menen Great defense there on that possession, as that was actually, I think, Stisser on the drive. Ball goes out of play. Stay with the Potters on the far sideline. Laufenberg will inbound. Ottawa showing a man-to-man look here. And they get it into Ellie Van Menen in the corner. She drives in, but has it stripped near the free throw line. She hits the deck. Referees blow their whistle. It's a jump ball and goes back to Ottawa.
You know, the physicality that results in yet another jump ball. I mean, it's hard if you're the if you're Morton, just being able to contain the Pirates as they're being able to execute off your press, and they're being able to force the jump balls on your possession. So
Ottawa nearly threw it away, but that pass was deflected out by the Potters. So it'll be Schmitz to inbound it. Gets it into Stisser. Again, Orlandi's got 7 for them. Dorsey's got 3, and Haley Larson with 4. 3-ball on the way is up and good. Skylar Dorsey threw a strong closeout, gives Ottawa the lead right back.
Yeah, she made 2 threes in the OT win against Kankakee. And now it's in the paint. Selke misses the first, gets her own rebound, foul, but missed the second as well.
You know, I'm really curious, Caden, to see, we get our halftime stats, which again, major shout out again to Ottawa's operations group bringing us those at halftime and the end of the last game. But I'm very curious to see what the second chance points are going to look like for both of these squads, because it was a big factor in the first game, and it's been a factor so far in the second game, as Selke will shoot a pair. A foul goes on Orlandi. That's her second.
Yeah, and that's what I was
earlier.
Just talking about it. I don't really want to bring it up again, but I mean, if you're Ottawa, that's not the person you want to see receiving fouls and whistles. So you want to see him receiving whistles the other way, but not on the defensive side.
Orlandi will stay in the game. Brock will get a well-deserved breather for the Potters. And the second rattles out, so Selke goes 0 for 2. Ottawa student section again shouting their pleasure there. A baseball pass bounces off of a fingertip of a Morton player. Stays with Ottawa. Orlandi finds Stisser on the drive. And Van Menen got her hands on it, got knocked to the ground. No foul call, and it'll stay with Ottawa.
Yeah, the Pirates were trying to really facilitate that offense, find the open player, and just distribute it, threading the needles. But just like that, another tip there. It's
Laufenberg in transition, lays it up off the glass.
Yeah,
takes a couple bounces off the rim and in.
Morton had a lot of tips, but that was the first one they were able to bring down, and it resulted in a bucket.
And a travel on Ottawa, so now you can feel that pendulum shift right back in the Potters' direction after some good defensive plays.
I mean, defense wins championships is the motto you often hear, and Morton's defense has started to heat up.
Quick score update from Harvey Newcomb of our staff over at DMAC. P&D leads big over Central Catholic, 28-9 after the first quarter. Irish are on pace to score over 100 tonight. Here's Abby Van Menen creating space, a little drive-in, pull back. Her jumper, though, on the baseline's no good. Stisser, though, jetting out in front of Morton defenders, trying to poke it out. She goes a skip pass over to Dorsey, who's drained 2 threes, trying to shoot it again, and Laufenberg tipped it 3-on-1 other direction. Laufenberg lays it up, and it rims out, no good, but Abby Van Menen is there, and that's the advantage of having a 3-on-1. Plenty of help there right behind you if you're Julia Laufenberg.
And the press once again for Morton. But as you talked about, the second chance points have been saving Morton in this one. And I mean, without the second chance points, this score would look vastly different.
Wild shot put up by Ella Schmitz. And as you hear the roar of the crowd, you can guess that one went in. It's kind of tossed up with both hands off the glass, and it went on down. And so tie ball game as we approach the halfway point of the second quarter. More high energy basketball here in Ottawa in the second game. Here's Abby Van Menen into the paint, and it's good. Morton doing so much of their damage in the painted area, Caden.
Yeah, I mean, again, once we get the courtesy of Ottawa stat sheets, we'll be able to see how many points really from the paint. But, I mean, not really making any three. I mean, they haven't made a three yet. So everything's been down low or at least in front of the arc.
Yeah, or at the free throw line, too. Mary Stisser drove in for Ottawa and got fouled by Abby Brooks. That's Morton's first foul of the second quarter, so the gym quiets for Stisser's free throw, which is off the attachment. Selke and Hayes back in for more. They're going to go a whole line change. Selke, Hayes, Penelope Drake into the game for the first time alongside Brock, and Anya Ruxlow in. So
I think the only one to stay in was Paige Selke.
Second free throw is up and good. Back to a 1-point advantage for the Potters, who came into the postseason. They lost their last two, fell to Dunlap and Washington, but then they beat East Peoria 68-34 and Lincoln 48-40. Potters fell to the Rail Splitters earlier in the season. Got some revenge there as they work it around the arc. Here's Ruxlow, 5'4" senior guard. They go around the horn. Brock in the corner. Her three is good.
There's the first three for the Potters, and this is the first time in a while they've stopped the press.
And Katie Brock, she can shoot the ball too. Nice pass from the Pirates. Found Dorsey in the corner, but it wasn't a clean catch. That time it is. She's left open. She responds. Skylar Dorsey's got 9 for Ottawa, and all of them have come from behind the arc.
The Potters want an eye for an eye after the Pirates got the eye for the eye. You know, Pirates only have one eye, but we'll see if we can
There's
make
the
it.
Pirates there, and the logo on your screen only has one eye. At least we assume so. Maybe it's just for
Maybe it's just for show.
cosmetic purposes too, but Ottawa gets a turnover here. They have a chance to take the lead back.
And you can hear it. The energy is coming back to the Pirate fans.
Orlandi nearly had it taken away. She's got Brock all up on her. That's a great matchup there. Orlandi on Brock. Orlandi shoots up a three. No good. Stisser there. No one's on her. She lays it up and in, and that's the risk you run. Morton put more players up near the top to guard the three against Orlandi and left Stisser wide open down low. Now here's Penelope Drake feeding Selke. She's double teamed. Ball on the deck, and they call a timeout. Nice awareness there from Ottawa head coach Brent Moore, as this player was kneeling on the ground and called timeout before they could run into any more trouble. So Brent Moore, 10th season and is at Ottawa, 169-105 overall. And again, this is the first time, Kate, in 11 years they've won a regional title. So what a year for the Pirates it's been. Not only being able to do that, but getting to play sectionals in your home gym is quite a treat.
No, it really is. And, you know, you saw Brent Moore's excellence there, John. They didn't see it at home. But, I mean, when you got a player that's in contention for a jump ball, probably seconds after a Morton Potter was going to get there, you were either going to witness a steal or you were going to witness a jump ball whistle. And so having the IQ and being able to call the quick timeout results in Morton not having the ball in either of those scenarios. Now it's the experience of a 10-year coach who's done that. Look at the other side. UC Bob Becker has lots of experience as well, but Brent Moore is trying right now to prove that he can topple one of the dynasties in Morton in front of his home fans after winning the regional for the first time in so long.
Ottawa, again, just because they haven't won a regional doesn't mean they haven't been good. Back in 2 years ago, they went 25-7. They come into this one 24-7. Morton at 24-6 on the year. Ottawa with the ball as Ashlyn Gannier brings it up. Sophomore into the game for the Pirates, a 5'7" sophomore guard. And we get a offensive foul, or rather, I don't know if there's an offensive foul or if it stepped out of bounds. I think it may have been an illegal screen on the Pirates right in front of the Potters bench, as Morton substituting more often. That's a really nice luxury you're able to have here, Bob Becker, is you can go 9-10 deep and you can do those line changes and really just rotate bodies in and keep them fresh as a new group comes onto the floor.
Yeah, it's almost like hockey or football, where hockey, everybody needs to change to get a breather, but even football, you need a breather every now and then. Oh, well, you got 6 wide receivers to sub in.
Katie Brock's three in the other corner. That one was an air ball. Well, she got the one to go from the left corner, not the right corner. As the Pirates work here and out of bounds. Stisser lost the handle on it, trying to drive in there on Abby Van Mennen. And, even though Ottawa's had some of their biggest buckets be threes, I've been impressed that they've gotten big down low. They've taken it right in the teeth of this Potters defense, which features the 6-foot Abby Van Mennen, the 5'9" Ellie Van Mennen, and the 5'10" Paige Selke, plus the 5'10" Laufenberg. Here's Selke. Beautiful cut on the baseline. And a wonderful pass to find her. Selke's got 7 for the Potters.
Yeah, she hit the deck after making that shot. The physicality has not gone away in this second half, but definitely a little bit less. You see it every time one of the girls enters the paint, though.
Under a minute to play, and a 3-ball from Ottawa was no good. That was Ella Schmitz. But the rebound bounces off of the hand of a Potter, and it'll stay with him. Bob Becker a little upset after that one, trying to get his team just to catch the ball and hang on to it. This has been a seesaw affair. Orlandi's 3, nothing but net.
Yeah, there was a screen perfectly set up on Katie Brock. Katie Brock was on man on Orlandi. She immediately called for it after she got screened, but Orlandi didn't get a help defense on her and was able to take the wide open 3 and swished it.
Ottawa in a 2-3 here on Morton's. Could be their final possession of the first half. It's Selke around the arc, now feeding Ellie Van Mennen in the corner. She's going to drive in on Grenier, with up and under. Her shot's no good, but Abby Van Mennen is there for the offensive board. Yeah, second chance points continue to be the theme as time winds down. Orlandi dribbling, trying to get a shot off. She's going to dial up a step back 3, no good. And we are all knotted up at 28 after the first half.
I mean, if you're either of these two coaches, you go into halftime and say it's a 0-0 game. That's how you treat it. But going back to that last possession for Morton, not the last possession we saw, but the last possession for Morton, Ellie Van Meenen, that ball, she shot it nearly under the net.
Yeah,
and I mean,
tough angle.
A tough angle to make a shot, but little sister right there able to put it back up. Go back to Ellie. She only has 3 points, and that was from her 3 free throws on the line, thanks to that gifted foul with 1.2 seconds left in the first quarter.
Been a great one so far here in Ottawa. Again, Morton, the number 2 seed in this subsectional, you could say. So they are, again, the slight favorites in this one, but again, Ottawa's got that home court advantage. Taking a look again about what Ottawa, has done this season, who they've played. Some area teams, they lost to P&D by 23, so the Irish kind of had their way with them. Obviously, Washington beat Ottawa pretty big. Ottawa did beat a good Canelan team by 7. They lost to a good Dixon team by 3. They played Morris 3 times. We saw Morris back last week at the Washington Regional. They beat Morris twice. Lost to them once, so again, you can, maybe say, okay, Morris maybe played a little bit of a stronger schedule, against a, very tough Mid-Illini Conference schedule. They played the State Farm Holiday Classic. We saw them down there too as well. But overall, it doesn't really matter what records are. It doesn't matter who you faced. You could be facing great teams all season long, but if you don't bring in the postseason, anything can really happen to you, and anything can happen in this second half as both these teams try and vie for a spot in the 3A sectional title here in Ottawa. Again, I want to take a quick word and thank our sponsor that makes tonight's broadcast possible. It's Domino's Pizza. From now until March 2nd, you can get any crust, any toppings on your pizza for $9.99 each. Order online now. Again, it has to be an online order to get that deal. Visit Domino's.com. Well, Kaden, we talked about before this one, we're going to take a look around the area and see how the other area teams are faring. Obviously, we know P&D is leading big on Bloomington Central Catholic right now. Again, our Harvey Newcomb is there. It's 32-10 as of the last update. Halfway through the second quarter, Irish are leading that one big. If they win, they would face DMAC again in the sectional title. That would be a rematch of last year's sectional title game, which we saw last year in Canton. That 2A sectional is just loaded. 2 really good teams. I got to say, though, it's hard for me to deny the thought that P&D, I think, could very definitely make repeat state champions in Class 2A.
No, they have, without question the ability to. It's just, are they going to be able to pass the hurdle and get through everybody to get there? I mean, they were the favorites last year, and they were able to pull it off. Losing Maya Wardle has proven it's proven a lot closer games they've played, but they've proven that they can still win without her and still stay strong in every game. You know, their opponent in DMAC, they had a close one, as you talked about. I'm pretty sure you said 14-13 was the halftime score. I mean, that's a defensive duel if you've drawn it up. And for those people who aren't as avid followers of basketball as we might be, Dalia DeJesus, sorry, again, not looking at a name pronunciation right now. You know, Dalia only had 4 points in that 14-13 game. When you're looking at a player as national as she is, scoring so little, that has to have a big impact in the defensive duel. If you're able to lock down the _1 scorer, I mean, you know that PND was watching and took some notes and how they can defend her for if they move on.
Most definitely. And you know, back to your point about PND, I would counter that. You know, you said they haven't been winning by quite as much, but they blew their way through a lot of big wins this season, and they won 61-24 over Canton in the regional title game. And a lot of people around here know, you know, Canton's a solid squad. Maybe their record didn't show it as much this year, but they were a good team in the middle line. I know Morton fans can certainly attest to that. You know, but they just blew by them, blew by IVC, but another strong season for Lane Langhoff and company as they look for win number 30 here tonight. Another game we got our eye on, area team for us, Illini Bluffs taking on a very good Kewanee Weathersfield team. The Flying Geese, one of my favorite nicknames in the all of IHSA. That game, we don't believe we have a score on that one. I'm looking right now and don't see anything yet so far, but we'll try and keep you updated on that one. Again, DMAC over Monmouth, Roseville by 3, PND leading at Bloomington Central Catholic big. Obviously, we saw Washington beat Galesburg just before this one, 55-48. And Normal Community and Pekin in Class 4A action. They're playing at Normal West. As for the right to face Alton, a very, very good team. And still no score from Pekin and Normal West on the IHSA score zone. Let's take a look at the old Twitter, or X as a lot of people call it nowadays.
You know, a lot of people reached out to us on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, about this gym. And, you know, one thing we've talked about the walls, we've talked about the band perched up high, their songs reflecting throughout this building. We've talked about the student section. We've talked about how big it is. We've talked about the banners. One thing we haven't mentioned is they do have a LED video board hanging high on one side.
Very nice.
This might be the first one I've actually seen, John, in a high school gym. I've seen a couple of football fields. This might be the first one I've seen inside a high school gym.
Well, believe it or not, the other place where our CSM crew is at tonight, that DMAC our Harvey Newcomb is there, providing live updates on social media. They actually just recently put in a LED video board there, which again, you don't really see every day, especially in a school the size of DMAC, Class 2A school. Very impressive what they've done over there too as well. A lot of great gyms. I also love, you know, going to the Potter Dome. Believe it or not, I had not been in the Potter Dome hardly at all before this season, but I went there for a few games, both boys and girls this season. Really enjoyed my times there. It was a very fun gym to be at, as is Kingman Gym here in Ottawa. Here's a score from Pekin and Normal Community. How about this, Caden? Normal Community 25-6, Pekin 19-13, but it's the Dragons leading 31-30 at the break over Normal Community. I don't think Pekin was a school that many people expected to maybe reach a regional title game. They hadn't won a regional in over 40 years. And now they're at least ahead by a small margin against a very good Normal Community squad down in Normal West. We'll keep you posted on all those scores later on tonight. We got our stats here, Kaden. Let's take a look at them and see what stands out. Points in the paint. Morton leads Ottawa 20-10 in this one.
Wow. And
Morton, five of their other points have come from the line. So like you said, everything except that 3 from Brock has been either in the paint or at the free throw line. Off of turnovers, however, Ottawa outscoring Morton at 12-9. Second chance points pretty even. Morton with 6, Ottawa with 5. Morton leads the rebounds 11-9. assist numbers, Ottawa sharing the rock very well. 8 assists on 11 field goals. Morton with 4 assists on 11 field goals. And both teams pretty even in the turnover department too. Ottawa with 11, Morton with 10.
Yeah, you know, I think as you said it, the two that stick out to me is Morton 20-10 in the paint, and you know the second chance effort, not as many as I thought. I mean, again, I'm not going to doubt our incredible, gifted Ottawa scorers who are giving it to us, but I definitely feel like the second chance score, maybe our definitions are a little bit different. Feel like we have seen more than 11 total second chance points.
You know, I think there's been a lot of second chance opportunities, but there haven't been so many points. I think you can credit that to the post defense on both these squads. You know, Morton has been trying to get into the post quite often, and you know, sometimes Ottawa wins the battle, Morton sometimes wins the battle. It's really been a coin flip when Morton has the ball in the post so far. And this one, Ottawa's been playing some good D down there, down low, but so is Morton too. You know, we saw Abby Van Mennen and Paige Selke make some big plays on defense, some blocked shots, some deflections. They've been getting it done in the painted area as well. But you know, so far, at least from three-point land, Ottawa 5 for 10. Morton is just 1 for 3, so you got to take away the arc here in the second half if you're Bob Becker and the Potters. Morton 5 for 9 from the free throw line. Ottawa 1 for 2. Potters shooting 52%. Pirates shooting at 57 or 58%. Got to round up.
Yeah, and you know, again, it's only 16 minutes, but the one thing you got to keep in mind is it's only been 2 3-ball shooters for Ottawa. Nobody else has made one besides Skylar Dorsey and Marley Orlandi. So, you know, you got to eliminate the 3-ball, like you said. That's been a difference maker. But really, you just got to isolate those two from when they get beyond the arc.
And any 3 almost might feel like 4 because of how loud this place is going to get after one goes down. As Abby Van Mennen takes it in, and an offensive foul there on her. I thought she was going to head to the line for 2, but an offensive foul went there on Abby Brooks away from the ball. So Ottawa with a chance to take the lead.
You know, John, neither team came out to shoot at halftime. Both of them are coming out and ready to go.
Good observation there. Yeah, neither team really warmed up. A lot of times just spent talking in the locker room. 2 great head coaches here tonight. Offensive board for Ottawa, it was Orlandi. She couldn't spin it around and in. Now Brock the other direction. Feed up to Julia Laufenberg. Now she goes to Ellie Van Mennen, and we get a reach-in foul as Skylar Dorsey tried to reach around.
You know, right before trying to go up, that's the right time to foul if it was intentional. I'm not sure if Dorsey just didn't like that mismatch, but I mean, that was a clear, or just made a mental mistake, but that was a clear as day foul.
Yeah, got her pretty good. Now they'll inbound it to Ellie Van Mennen, who feeds Brock here in the corner, right below us. Now it's Ellie Van Mennen on the wing, guarded tightly by Mary Stisser. Now, Ottawa's been, getting right up in Morton's grill quite a bit. We saw them press a little bit in that first quarter. We saw Morton press a lot early on. Ottawa broke it pretty frequently. As now it's Ellie Van Mennen on top of the key, driving in on the right side. Her shot no good. Younger sister is there for the board. She can't get it to go. Back to Ellie Van Mennen and in. Little glorified game of catch there on both sides of the backboard from the Van Mennen sisters.
That was Ellie Van Mennen's first bucket, not on the charity stripe. Took her a while, but, key impact player on this squad.
Stisser, Morton left her wide open for a 3 of this, and won't let her shoot, and she just missed it from the top of the key. Brock feeds to Selke, her 3-ball on the wing, no good. Great board for Orlandi. Showed off her vertical there over Katie Brock, who just fouled her in the backcourt. So that is Ottawa's first here of this second half. It goes, or Morton's first, goes on Katie Brock. I knew the red and white was going to trip me up at some point.
Yeah, I called it pregame, but hey, we've been doing very good. We have to pat ourselves on the back.
Game's not done yet, though, as Mary Stisser ties it back up. Spinning and off the glass and in. Another bucket in the paint for the Pirates. Laufenberg finding it into Abby Van Mennen, who's been double-teamed all night. It did not matter that time, up off the glass. And then this is just some good old-fashioned basketball, Katie, my word.
24 of the 32 Potter points from down low in the paint. I mean, there's not much of an answer if you're Ottawa because of the size differential, but you've got to find one because you're playing aggressive and it's not working yet.
Here's Orlandi. 4 Pirates on one side. They're overloading the left side and leaving Dorsey over on the right side. Beautiful feed down low. It went to Larson, and she got fouled. I'll draw the applause here of the Ottawa faithful. 5:21 to go here in the third quarter. Alongside Caden Sexton, I am Jonathan Michael. Glad you're with us again in our Clutch Sports Media Game of the Week. Again, we will have more basketball coming your way. Haley Larson knocks down the first. We haven't announced it yet on our social media channels, but we will tomorrow morning about our plans for the rest of the week. We will be in multiple gyms tomorrow for boys regional games. We'll be back here in Ottawa on Thursday, and then we'll also have boys regional title on Friday.
We're splitting up tomorrow, John.
We are. Second free throw was missed. Ottawa got it right back, and it ends at an and one for Ashlyn Gannier. That's a huge momentum play to give Ottawa the lead and a chance to make it 2. Morton just couldn't bring in the board there off of that free throw miss, and they paid the price as we get another line change here with Drake, Cerisa, Hayes, and I believe Brooks into the game for the Potters, and Abby Van Mennen stays in.
Yeah, that was a full line change, as you said, off the
Second free throw is no good, and Larson nearly kept it in bounds, lost her balance, nearly tripped into the bleachers, but couldn't corral it, and it goes back to Morton.
Yeah, no, Coach Bob Becker had 2 girls on the line after that and 1 call. He put 2 more out there and did in one of these famous, as we've been watching, near full line switches.
And Brooks couldn't quite hang on to it. Morton Ottawa in transition. It's Gannier again off the bench. What a lift that Ashlyn Gannier has given her team.
Yeah,
it's Ottawa by 3.
Sophomore had no points in this first half. Both of her buckets have been the loudest this gym has been all day with 2 games.
And an emphatic foul call there. It goes on Gannier, who maybe a little bit too much adrenaline there from those last 2, but she was really pumped up after that free throw basket. Or that transition basket, I should say. As Bob Becker wants to talk things over, it'll be a full timeout. And she fouled Morton there. 4:43 to go, and it's the Pirates by 3.
Yeah, going back to that foul, you could see Brent Moore wanted the jump ball, a little bit upset, but instead just trying to motivate the girls to play on and keep moving. Bob Becker checked Izzy Ripka. I'm not sure if I said the last name right.
Yeah.
Into the game. That would have been, unless if I'm mistaken, her first time out there.
Yep.
It is. So he's really just trying to create different sparks right now.
Yeah, if Ripken gets on the floor, that'd be the 11th Potter played by Bob Becker tonight. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 on the roster. So everyone getting a chance to play for the Potters tonight. And, he's just trying to find that combination that can really give them a spark and also, give your stars some breaks because both Van Menens and Paige Selke and Katie Brock they've been working tonight. It's been a fast-paced game. It's been a tough and physical game. It's been a little bit of both so far in this one, and you're going to need, all of your players. You never know, too. Flu's been going around. We don't know that for certain, but, maybe some players still trying to maybe get their wind back from them. You don't know. But good news is that, both these teams are pretty much almost fully healthy here tonight, which is, you can't take that for granted during flu season here in February as we get an offensive foul on Morton. It'll add to the Pirates' momentum. It'll be an illegal screen there set by Penelope Drake, the 5'8" freshman forward. Chance for Ottawa's biggest lead of the game. Orlandi, top of the key. Now it's over to Schmitz. Now on the wing, it's Gannier. 3-ball on the wave. That was Dorsey. And Ottawa hustles to the board. There's a Pirate down. That's Larson. Ball goes back to Morton. Larson back up on her feet, but she took a hard fall.
Yeah, that was Penelope Drake who got that ball, and with momentum, ref calls she stepped out of bounds, so actually it's a turnover from Drake that gets another possession for the Pirates. So.
Ottawa's had the advantage so far. Only 4 minutes have gone by in this third quarter. Feels like it's been much more, Caden. As Orlandi facing some tight defense now from Sarisa up top. Driving in is Ganier with the hot hand, and she can't get it going. Now it's up to Sarisa on the other end. Back over, Izzy Ripka in the game. She also has a screen for Drake, who's now got it top of the key over to Sarisa on the wing. And a foul there on Orlandi. We've seen lots of fouls, not on shots, Caden, as Orlandi pushed Van Menen there in the back.
Yeah, that's Orlandi's third. And, now is when you start to think about foul trouble. And, Orlandi getting those first two didn't do anything, but it does now, as it looks like Haley Larson checks back into the game. She is a starter and a senior cornerstone for the forward for this group, but not the girl they want on the floor. They want Orlandi.
Ottawa, very senior-heavy team. They got 8 of them. Morton's got plenty of seniors as well. Drake has it in the corner, working on Stisser. Near the free throw line now, Ripka dials up a three. Her shot's no good, but she pushes it to a teammate and allows a second chance point for Claire Sarisa. What a play there from Izzy Ripka. Missed her shot, but just kind of guided the ball into a teammate and allows for Sarisa's first bucket.
Sarisa almost had the energy going the other way as she almost hooks the ball right out of Stisser's hand, but Stisser able to reel it back in and pass it away.
Three ball on the way from Dorsey, off the rim, no good. Now Morton a chance to get back in the driver's seat. It's Hayes bringing it up. And we get a tie-up. Great defense there from Schmitz. She just said, I'll take that. And the possession arrow favors the Pirates. You can really tell that Otto's being aggressive when Morton starters are not back in the game. And well, now here they come back in. It's Brock, Ellie Van Menen, Selke, and Laufenberg come back in. But, you can kind of tell when they bring that bench unit. They've been playing good, but they feel like Ottawa's got the advantage that they can really play intense and try and fluster these bench players from Morton when they come in the game.
No, you said it right, John. When you're aggressive through 11 players deep.
Orlandi is a runner in the lane, no good. Rebound goes to Morton.
Yeah, when you're aggressive 11 players deep and then are able to fly down once you get your breather, it's a hard team to stop, especially when they keep driving in the paint like this.
And Ellie Van Menen's shot no good. Rather, that was Abby. Now Selke on a second chance. She drives in, gets fouled. It'll be the fourth on Ottawa this quarter. I haven't mentioned the fouls. Both teams at 4 so far here in this third, as Ottawa leads at 35-34 with 2:29 to go. Foul going on Stisser. That's her second foul.
Yeah, when the starters came in, so did Marley Orlandi. A quick breather on the bench despite earning a third foul. She played all 16 of the first half.
Yeah, Ottawa said, hey, we don't want the same thing to happen where you can take advantage when our starters are on the bench. You're going to bring your starters back in. We're going to put Orlandi back out there, as Abby Van Menen will get a quick breather. Abby Brooks back in the game for the Potters. The second free throw is off the mark, so it remains all knotted up. That's where we were at halftime, 28-28, and we continue to have a football score, 35-35 here inside Kingman Gym. Orlandi near the volleyball line. A lot of volleyball players on this Pirate squad, as well as Claire Sarisa, volleyball star for Morton. Orlandi's still got it, trying to get open. Another foul away from the ball. It's going to go on the Potters. And I think that was on Laufenberg. That's number 1 for her.
Hey, you talk about volleyball stars. Try Skylar Dorsey and her sister, Ayla Dorsey.
Ella Schmitz also plays volleyball.
And Ainsley Leonard.
Yeah, and Haley Larson also plays softball at Ottawa, too. So a lot of multi-sport athletes here.
Starting catcher is Haley Larson.
Yeah. So 35-35. It'll send Orlandi to the line.
Foul on Julia Lavenberg, her first, and that goes in for Orlandi. Her first basket, John, of this quarter and of the half.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Back in that first game, we saw Tibbs light up for 15 in that first half. Only scored 7 in the second. And it's still pretty good, though. 22-point outing for her, but I think by being able to limit Tibbs, that's how Galesburg clawed back in the game. Now we'll see if Morton can try to limit Orlandi and get back in the lead here.
This is the first time I've heard really the chant of the student section when it wasn't a Morton Potter free throw or following a big bucket from their own
Ellie
squad.
Van Menen drives in and one. She gives a fist pump and a big scream. She's pumped up about that, and that'll tie it right back up, Caden. I wonder how many ties we've had in this one. Seems like every other bucket ties it back up, but Van Menen with a chance to give Morton the narrowest of advantages. 1:41 to go here in the third quarter. That foul going. Not sure who that was on for Ottawa. They didn't flash it up on the screen, but missed free throw, still tied at 37. Orlandi now in between the red at half court, had it taken away. Was trying to find Schmitz. Now Morton working it around. It was Laufenberg in the corner who now fed it to Brock. She goes cross court, tries to find her teammate in the corner. That's Brooks for three, no good. Stisser with the rebound for Ottawa.
Yeah, 3 white jerseys around Stisser. It was hard to get it out, but she was able to, and the press back on for Morton first time this half.
Three ball on the way for the Pirates, no good. Offensive board, Larson couldn't get it up and in.
But she does kick it out, and now Stisser's going to restart the offense.
That three ball came from Skylar Dorsey, who had 3 triples back in the first half.
And I'm pretty sure Dorsey was the one with that foul you didn't see, John.
I think that you are correct, as Dorsey does have 2. So she's got 2, Larson's got 2, Orlandi's got 3 for Ottawa. Foul there on Ellie Van Menen. That is Morton's 5th here of this third frame, so it'll put the Pirates in the bonus, and Larson specifically to the line. That one comes up short. I think all 4 teams we've seen here today, Caden, maybe could slightly improve their free throw shooting before Thursday's sectional title game. You don't want it to come down to miss free throws.
That one had a real weird spin on it, and it didn't go over the rim. Another 4-player switch for Morton.
So her second one hits the front iron and no good. Abby Van Menen rips it away, and they're going to give
it a jump ball.
A jump ball. So it keeps it with Morton, but Ottawa fans still excited about that play, and they like what they've been seeing. Been just an all-out battle so far. Largest lead hasn't been more than about 7 or 8, and Morton turns it over. They try to find Selke right underneath the basket. The pass was too far into the bleachers.
You know, Morton hasn't made many mistakes. It's more been the impact that the Pirates have had on offense and defense, eliminating opportunities, creating some of their own through tight coverage. I mean, if you look at it on paper, Ottawa's a little bit outgunned solely from height factor, solely from, you could argue, star power, but it hasn't looked like it from our eyes, and the score proves that it hasn't looked like it.
That's definitely a good point. Now with under 10 seconds to go, Orlandi feeds it off to Dorsey. Great defense from Brooks, all up on her. Now they'll pass it over. Stisser driving in, passing is deflected. Back to the Potters. Half-court heave with one hand comes up well short from Abby Brooks. So it all comes down to the next 8 minutes to decide who will get a chance to take down Washington in Thursday's sectional title game here in Ottawa. Again, I want to thank our sponsor tonight, Domino's. Now until March 2nd, if you order online at Domino's.com, you get any pizza, any crust, any toppings, whatever your heart desires. You see there half and half. You get a pepperoni on one side, green peppers and mushrooms on the other, whatever you want. $9.99 each if you order online at Domino's.com. I want to thank them for making tonight's broadcast possible, and certainly encourage you to visit Domino's next time you're craving some pizza. So, at the end of this fourth quarter, I really just cannot even envision or predict in any way what's going to happen in this one. We have seen it from both sides. I really think this one could come down to the final possession. It has been that close so far tonight.
Yeah.
Someone is going to become a hero, I think, here in Kingman Gym.
I don't know if Kingman Gym is about to get ecstatic or it's about to walk away with still air. The time that hasn't came yet is the only thing that's going to prove that. But one message that I do have to say as we're getting started, just like coming out of halftime, mentality has to be 0-0 ball game.
Yeah, most definitely. 8 minutes to decide it all. I almost feel like it's just an extended overtime. And there are no second chances in the playoffs. A loss will send you home. Pirates with the ball. They've been working it around this possession as Schmitz feeds it to Orlandi. Now over to Stisser. Crowd quiets down a bit. You can hear the squeaks of the sneakers on this hollowed floor. And Schmitz lost the handle on it. Morton takes it away. It's going to be a foul on the Pirates. They were hoping for a jump, but it's going to be a reach and call there on Ella Schmitz, the 5'8" senior guard.
Yeah, you know, Coach Brett Moore, that's the first foul, but he doesn't care. He's instead motivating. He's cheering on the aggression that this team has shown continuously all night. He has been talking and communicating and just pumping them up and trying to elevate their spirits, especially trying to motivate the aggression when they present it.
Drive it in. It's Abby Van Menen. No good. Selke is there to clean it up. Morton has just sent everyone into the paint this game, and even if a player misses their shot, there's always a Potter, at least in the area, for a second chance bucket. And driving in was Orlandi. Ran out of real estate. It's back to the Potters. Chance for them to pick up some momentum here early in the fourth.
Yeah, you know, both teams have had slight momentum shifts, but the other ones always came back. So it'll be interesting to see how long Morton's able to take the momentum and if they can how much they can capitalize on it with only 6.5 left.
Hayes had it. Now Selke has it and at the elbow. Brock calling for a screen. Selke sets it. Brock not able to find any separation. Now it goes back to her. Bob Becker shouts instructions right in front of her. And she'll take it back up top and orchestrate this offense. Pass it over to Ellie Van Menen, who's fouled hard by Stisser. Helps her back up.
Sign of good sportsmanship right there.
And I remember seeing in the last game for Morton, that game against Lincoln, hard foul on Ellie Van Menen. It was an intentional foul from the looks of it. It didn't like to be a play on the ball. And after that very hard foul on her, Morton just really seemed to just pick up lots of energy and light that spark. Although that time I don't think there was any malicious intent on that one from Stisser. Second foul from Ottawa. 3 ball on the way. No good from Hayes. Ball pinballs into the hands of Schmitz, and Pirates go the other way. Stisser stepping into a 3. No good. That one was not far off, though. It would have brought the house down. Van Menen up to Hayes. Potter's trying to get in transition, and again will slow the tempo down. I think that's what Morton wants to do. They want to take the crowd out of it. They want to just run their offense and
they're
right now too high tempo.
Yeah, they're stopping right now to set up their screen, to set up their play. They don't care about the clock. They're up 2. They just want to play their Morton Potter ball. And instead, they got a wide open screen. Walk to the paint there was Peyton Hayes for her first bucket. The sophomore gets 2.
And a 4-point lead now for Morton. That feels huge right now.
Especially with how this game is gone.
And we're going to get a reach-in foul there on Brock. That's her third and the team's first. So good news for the Potters is that they're not in danger of sending the Pirates to the line so far, but there is still plenty to be decided as Laufenberg and Cerisa come back in for Morton, and Brock and Hayes come back out. You know, Hayes, a player that only averages 4 a game for Morton, but sometimes it's not about how much you score, it's, when you score. And that one was a big, big bucket for the number 2 seed Potters.
And it was a walk-in. Those buckets mean more to the defense of this opposing team.
50-50 ball near half court. Morton nearly took it away, but it bounces off of Ellie Van Menen. And we'll stay with the Pirates, who are now facing a press. Orlandi goes cross court. Laufenberg nearly came away with it. Now Stisser scurries across the timeline. Her pass in trouble, but hit the deck and went off of the foot of Selke.
Yeah, Morton's playing great defense right now, but they aren't able to get the turnover. They're forcing the ball out of bounds, but are being the last one to touch it. Not a bad thing, but also not a plus.
Here's Stisser now again. Morton has kind of left her open a little bit on the arc, and a shot was blocked by Abby Van Menen. Just came in and swatted it. Didn't really get up in the air much, but an emphatic denial. There is, I believe that was Stisser trying to get a shot down in the post. Pirates throw it back in, and it goes right in the hands of Abby Van Menen. She lays it in off the fast break, and it's a 6-point Potter lead.
John, this might be the biggest lead of the night in the Potter section, fan section, most ecstatic right now after the timeout from Brent Moore.
Potter's starting to feel it a little bit, but the job is far from finished. Again, we've seen this Ottawa team knock down a lot of threes in this one. That was the key for us at halftime, right? We talked about you got to get Ottawa off the line, and the Pirates have done a really good job of that so far. Orlandi or Dorsey have not been really hurting them from behind the arc in the second half. I'm not sure if they even have a bucket from a three-point land here in half number 2.
No, there's not a single three ball from either side in half number 2, but that's not the mentality that Morton's been playing with. They've been playing with driving into the paint. Ottawa's been playing with let's get a three, and then if that fails, get our second chance kick-out opportunity. And without a three in the second half, the scheme needs to be either adjusted or needs to be fixed.
How about this score, Kaden? How about the number that Peoria Notre Dame is putting up on a very good Bloomington Central Catholic team? It's 52-19. Irish lead it with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Irish are on the verge of a running clock win in the sectional semifinals against a team that won over 20 games this season. What a statement from Lane Langhoff and company. I really don't know how P&D wasn't the number 1 ranked team in the state in 2A, even though they're number 2. As the Pirates have trouble there, ball is on the deck, it's in the backcourt, it's being laid on there by Stisser. Ball was underneath her back, it's a jump, and that favors the Potters. Pirates have had some trouble controlling the ball here in this second half sometimes.
Yeah, and you know, the energy and the excitement level definitely a little down right now. I think a bucket from either side could really either spark or kill the fans.
This is a big juncture in the game. We're halfway through the fourth quarter. It's a 6-point lead. If Washington scores, it's an 8-point game. You're feeling good. If Ottawa scores the next bucket, as Selke drives in off the glass and good. Well, that answers that question. Paige Selke up in double figures. She's starting to find it open up here in half number 2. Orlandi being tightly defended by Laufenberg, who brings plenty of length to the perimeter. Skip pass over, 3-ball with good rotation, but it couldn't find the bottom of the bucket for Ella Schmitz. Brock with the board, and now Morton is really in control here.
Yeah, they're going to take as much time as they desire to set up their play. They were doing this earlier with a small lead. Now that it's a little bit more wider of a game, you know, it's 8-point contest, 7-point contest, they are taking all the time they want.
So here's Abby Van Menen on the baseline. One-handed floater's no good. Selke went up in the air, got fouled, and she'll head to the line for 2. Dominating last few minutes from Morton. Making this closer to a 10-point game as Washington Panthers start to pack up their belongings, and they'll be heading out.
Yeah, as Selke makes the first, you know, go up and down Ottawa's roster. You want to stay in this one. You want to stay aggressive. You don't want to get into foul trouble too early, but you've got Haley Larson, Marley Orlandi, and Mary Stizzer, all starters, all 3 fouls. So
both free throws good from Selke. It's up to a 10-point game after this one was tied. Went into the fourth. Ottawa still hasn't scored here in this fourth quarter as Orlandi's baseline floater came up short, and it's a jump ball battling with Abby Van Menen. It'll stay with the Pirates. Ottawa student section, again, right underneath the basket. Haven't had anything to cheer about here in this fourth quarter. Inbounds play. They feed it to Larson. and it goes off of her hand and out of bounds. And Ottawa just hasn't been able to hang on to the ball in these very important possessions. You know, you gotta wonder, maybe the moment getting to them just a little bit here in this fourth quarter as Brock will set things up for the Potters.
They'd love to play on Thursday one more time for their home fans, but they've got to start now with 2:25 ticking on the clock and Morton just killing time if they want to come back from this 10-point deficit, all created in this fourth quarter.
And if you're Morton right now, I think the only thing that can really beat you is if you beat yourself. You turn the ball over, or miss some free throws, which they will be shooting here soon after Orlandi committed a foul. That's her fourth, and she'll check out with 2:16. That's it's a tough play there and a tough call there. I'm sure that Brent Moore had to make. I'm sure he doesn't want to take out Orlandi, one of his better three-point shooters, but I don't know, kid. Personal opinion, if I'm Brent Moore, I'm just, I'm letting Orlandi ride it out. We need buckets, and we need them now, so maybe keep her in the game, and we'll just see. But timeout called.
I mean, maybe just let her have a quick breather. Don't make her play defense, and then after the next foul, get her back in. But I mean, the offense has this half, even this quarter. I mean, this quarter obviously no points, but this half she only has 2 free throws to her name. But despite the lack of points, she's still a threat. She's still somebody that you're putting your best defender on.
Yeah.
If you're Bob Becker.
Now you have to respect what Orlandi can do, and you got to put. Like you said, you got to put a good body on her as the Potters inbound it to Brock. Dribbles past Schmitz. And we'll get another foul. So we're going to start playing the foul game at 2:09 to go here in the fourth. And so that will send Ellie Van Menen to the stripe. Again, so much of what Morton does has been with their big three scoring-wise. With Abby Van Menen, she's got 13. Ellie with 7. Paige Selke with 13. Make that now 8 points for Ellie Van Menen. But again, Kaden, even though the scoring's come from largely 3 people, it really has been a whole team effort, and it has been exemplified in that all 11 players have seen the floor for the Potters here tonight.
Yeah, when you're able to pull 11 players off your bench and have the confidence that they're going to perform at the level you want if you're Coach Bob Becker, it's not even. It's a strength, but it's also just a flex to the rest of Illinois that, hey, I got 11 players that can go in a subsectional game.
Yeah, a big sectional semifinal again. This Ottawa sectional is one of the most loaded in the state. You got Washington, the #1 team, you got Galesburg, a team that was just on the outside of the top 10. Morton, #6 in the state. Ottawa having a strong season. Orlandi's 3-ball, no good. Offensive board gives them another chance. Stisser finds Orlandi, dribbles in since it's 2 Potters and backs up. Potters nearly got a takeaway there. Stisser, a wild one-hand shot, throws it up in the air, but she drew contact and she'll head to the line for 2. But, again, we talked on the way here, the toughest way to get to state in Class 3A is to play in Central Illinois. So the fact that Morton is able to make it, they hang on to a sectional title game is, no small feat by any means.
Not at all, and another full switch brings some of the starters back out for Morton with an 11-point game and 1:43 on the clock.
Again, this one's still not fully in hand, so it's not like you're just going to throw your bench girls in and, let them finish this one out. There's still work to do. We have seen crazier things. Stisser missed her first and her second. Ottawa still has not scored in the fourth quarter. It's been 11-0 Potters here in this final frame. After this one was just tooth and nail for the first 24 minutes. And Ellie Van Menen gets fouled. She'll head to the line for 2. And got to think if you drain both of these here, it's going to get really hard if you're Ottawa, especially when you haven't had that one that's broken the seal yet.
No, if you go down 13 with a minute and a half, fouling is just going to get some of your best players out of the contest. With all of them being close in foul trouble, it's not over, but we're nearing the point after 2 makes that it's very close.
And the second one is up and good. That gives Ellie Van Menen 11, so 3 Potters in double figures tonight. Schmitz drives in and scores. Just a quick little floater that didn't see much resistance from the Morton defense. But, you'll give them the 2 right there. And I just got to make sure you don't turn the ball over, keep shooting free throws. This Morton team shoots 65% from the line overall. So overall, it's pretty solid numbers. Van Mennen came in shooting 65. Abby Van Mennen. Ellie shoots 80%. And Paige Selke shoots 71. And they take a lion's share of those free throws. So, again, just 122 away from part 4 between Washington and Morton. And, kind of look at, what both of these teams have done against each other this season. Washington won the first matchup at the State Farm Holiday Classic, 44-40. They lost the second one, 46-45. We were there at that game at Torrey Gym. And then in the de facto conference title game, just back on February 11th, Washington won that one 67-50. We'll get a jump ball, and that will favor Morton. So it's 2-1 in favor of the Panthers. But again, the Potters are the only team in the entire state to beat Washington. It's going to be a fantastic matchup on Thursday.
It's one to tune in for sure, and we've got it.
Another foul. Ottawa, again, tried to get a jump ball there in a good effort, but it will send the Potters back to the line. So it will be, it looks like Ellie Van Mennen to shoot these ones. And as we said, team leader in free throw percentage.
Well, Ellie Van Hedden as well as her sister, both second-team Mid-Illini players. Ellie at the line has 8.9 a night in conference play. She just sunk her 12th basket of the contest. 8.9 points a night, 2.9 rebounds, but she also leads the Mid-Illini with 31 steals.
Wow, how about that? And this Morton defense in this fourth quarter is really what's going to win it for them. They come away with another turnover there. Very active hands, and Ottawa just has not been able to get any open passing lanes here in this fourth, as Schmitz will foul Ellie Van Mennen again. So back to a familiar spot, and Van Mennen's got a chance to get up to potentially as many as 15 points. That's where her sister Abby is at the moment.
Well, and speaking of her sister, 9.5 a game, so a little bit better. 5.3 rebounds, a little bit more, but not the steals that her younger sister has come up with this season.
And both players just so big for this Morton program. And they would still be a very good team without them, but it's just so much better with those two Van Mennens as we get an and one. Ella Schmitz the other way on a great feed. Gets fouled right in front of the student section, who gives a big cheer there, but it's probably going to be too little too late unless we see something totally crazy. A good finish though through contact for Ella Schmitz, who's got 6. And, Morton's done a really good job of limiting Marley Orlandi here in the second half as well. She had 10 at the break and has only scored 1 here in the second half. So Schmitz will dribble and shoot what could be her final shot here inside Kingman Gym. She's a senior for this Ottawa squad that has quite a bit of them. Addison Miller, Skylar Dorsey, Ella Schmitz, Haley Larson, Orlandi, Ayla Dorsey, and Ainsley Leonard, and also Charlie Meyerhofer too. And Brent Moore calls timeout for the Pirates. So by all signs point towards this great careers for them is going to come to an end, and it's never what you want to see. I really kind of had a, kind of come back down to earth. It's kind of a sobering moment when I walked in to the lobby in between games when going to the bathroom. Walked back out. We called a great game between Washington and Galesburg. Said, congrats on a great career of the Silver Streaks. You walk out in the lobby, and I saw multiple Silver Streaks players just sobbing that their season was over. And not everyone is seniors. Going to have some players that come back, but whether you're a senior or not, it really just stings to have a special run come to an end. And it really just seeing that emotion, it really just kind of brings you back and say, hey, this really matters to these girls. And major hats off again to Ottawa on a fantastic season, 24-7 coming into tonight. And, a big treat for them. They get to play a sectional game in front of their home crowd. It's not the outcome you want, but it's a great way, to end your career rather than being, on the road and, maybe not in front of all your home fans, not your home gym. This is going to be something special for them.
No, It would have been. And, you know, going back to the point you kind of made, these are students. You could have spent 1 year, you could have spent 4 years with some of these teammates. It's not like we're in the college with the transfer portal. It's not like we're professional athletes. These are high school students. They are with them every day in classes. They practice together. They go to the same school. And it's different when the emotion is real. And it's real because in the playoffs, you either win and get one more guaranteed game or you lose in your season, and your career/season is over.
And that's the harsh reality of it. Ellie Van Mennen, meanwhile, made 2 free throws on the other end. And what do you know? Ella Schmidt, who's had a big fourth quarter for Ottawa, gets a layup to go on the other end. So, you know, she's been very active here in this final frame, but unfortunately for the Pirates, Dorsey and Orlandi really haven't been able to add much. And, you know, Dorsey, I thought was going to maybe be in store for a huge game, knocking down the 3 big triples. And, again, Ottawa just hasn't had that in the second half. And not only does that take, you know, potential points off the board, also takes away the momentum points. This place was just rocking in the first half when, you know, they were draining threes, getting turnovers. And it's been a little bit more subdued here in the second frame.
You know, and it was strong in the third quarter when they came and when they had a 4 or 6 point lead, and the crowd was really with them, but kind of died out once Morton made the next bucket, and it hasn't been alive since.
So it's 55-44. Ottawa called timeout. That was their 4th. Both coaches with 1 timeout remaining, 37.2, and the Pirates will, unsurprisingly, dial up the press here. It'll be Ellie Van Mennen it looks like that might be, that's Anya Ruxlow triggering the inbound. And Ellie Van Mennen in trouble, and she's thrown down. Hard foul there, comes back up. So she gets more free throws, 16 points for her tonight, and many of them have come from the line. And I'm looking forward to Washington and Morton, Caden. Again, you know, based on what you saw tonight, you know, what are you looking forward to the most? What do you think maybe an preliminary early key for that game might be? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot. I'll give you a second here as Ellie Van Mennen shoots her first, and it's good.
You know, I'd have to go with just staying consistent and eliminating the turnovers. I think Washington made some mistakes. Morton made a couple, but it was more because of the pressure and intensity that Ottawa came in the first half with. But I think if whoever plays, and again, it's a fairly safe statement to make, but whoever comes out in the first half and plays the cleaner half, I think it's going to have a lot of momentum in the lead going into the second, and then the other team's just going to have to come out and play hard.
Van Mennen makes both, and Ashlyn Genier gets the bucket to go on the other end. So now the buckets are falling for Ottawa, but it's after they gave up an 11-0 run to start this 4th quarter here. A final score from DMAC, it is going to be P&D DMAC Part 2 in the sectional title as the Irish blow by Bloomington Central Catholic 65-28. And that's just insane work from P&D, really. That's the only way to put it. Because Central Catholic came in, you know, one of the better teams in the area. I had them ranked about all season long in my CSM girls basketball power rankings. They were 24-8 on the season, conference champions. They had won 8 of their last 9 games. They had blown teams out. They beat a good Tremont team, and they just get their lunch handed to them by P&D. So that is a wagon of an Irish squad, and we might be seeing them not in Champaign. But again, still work to do, and that starts on Thursday with sectional titles. As Ellie Van Mennen gets fouled again, as the Potters all laugh and say, hey, been doing that to you quite a bit, and now she's got a chance to get up to 20 here in this one. Ellie Van Mennen does.
20 from all these late free throws. The senior is at least getting more points in one of her, because she's a senior, one of her final games.
Most definitely, and she'll get at least one more crack at it, and it'll be a chance to take down their big rivals, the Washington Panthers. What a series that those two teams have had just the last couple years. I mean, Washington and Morton's just been phenomenal. As the final seconds tick away here from Kingman. Jim, thanks for joining us on a great night of basketball. Ottawa Shoots a floater at the final seconds. No good, and it will be Washington Morton for a sectional title on Thursday. A resounding finish for Bob Becker and the Potters. They win at 59-46 here in a true road contest.
Hats off to Ottawa. They played 3 quarters of near perfect basketball. And look, the fourth quarter, the Morton Potters came out and they showed off why they are one of the top-ranked teams in the state of Illinois. Morton's got a tall task ahead of them with Washington. You know, I was briefly touching on it. Both these teams allowed a lot of turnovers. You gotta limit that in practice this week and figure out how to come and play a clean game back here in Kingman Gym on Thursday. But, you know, if Morton's able to out-rebound Washington like Galesburg was, and if Washington is able to just make a lot of big threes, like they kind of were at the end of both of their, at the end of the second quarter and a little bit in the second half, I think it could be either anybody's game and a fun one to watch. They both got their things that they definitely need to improve on, but I mean, both of them have a strong skill set. Both of them know the familiar opponent.
Yeah, they're very familiar with each other. 4 meetings they're going to have this season, and man, what a treat it's going to be. We'll be back here for sure at Kingman Gym in Ottawa on Thursday night. Unofficial final tallies: Abby Van Mennen with 15 for the Potters, Ellie Van Mennen with 20. A lot of free throws down the stretch to seal it. Paige Selke with 14. So those 3 combined had 49. That would have been enough to beat Ottawa by themselves. So again, that's going to be a big key for Morton, I think, against Washington. You're going to need, I think, all 3 of those players to have big games. But again, you really never know. I mean, with 2 rivals facing off against each other, you never know. Throw the records out the window. Throw the previous matchups out the window. Nothing matters. Only those 32 minutes here in Kingman Gym as well. Ottawa drops to 24-8, and congrats to them on a great season. And Morton advances to 25-6 overall. And they'll face Washington. Well, before we leave here, okay, let's see if we can get any other scores. Let's take a look at that Pekin and Normal Community game. What a treat. We're going to have 2 all-area sectionals. 2A, we got P&D versus DMAC. 3A, Washington versus Morton. And the final score from Normal West is Pekin 47, Normal Community 39. A Cinderella run for Pekin continues. They finished 6th in the conference this season, and they're playing for a sectional title. Going to be a tall task against a very, very good Alton team, one of the best in the entire state. But hats off to the Dragons. 3 Mid-Atlantic teams playing for a sectional title. Can't wait to see what Thursday has in store.
Yeah, and you know, when I don't remember if I talked about this earlier on in the show, but I was at one of Pekin's games this year. It was a loss, actually, at Metamora. And, you know, I kind of said during the game and after the game that, you know, despite the loss, their record was 1,000% not the team they were. They were they played so much stronger than the numbers showed on paper. And they proved it tonight by beating a great Normal Community team.
Other than that, high school basketball. We'll see if we can find a score for Illini Bluffs. Again, they were taking on a very good Kewanee Weathersfield team down there in Class 1A.
Yeah, and while you're looking for that, I mean, hats off to the 8 Ottawa seniors who
Yes.
in their home gym just played their final game in front of home fans. Incredible careers to all 8 of them. And best of luck to their futures. But yeah, I mean, you would have liked to go out on a winning state, but I mean, the environment I mean, you won your first regional, you brought your school home one when they haven't had it since 2012, 2013. Not only did you do that, but you got to play one extra time in front of their fans.
Score update from Monmouth United, where Illini Bluffs is playing. They are trailing 34-21 with 2:34 to go in the fourth quarter. Now make that 34-22. So again, tough road for the Tigers. A strong season for them down in Class 1A, but again, not surprised at all to see, you know, Washington, Morton, P&D, DMAC, and maybe Pekin. I'm a little bit surprised. I gotta say that, but again, not surprised at all to see Washington, Morton, duke it out for a sectional title.
And you know, one thing, John, that I would like to put you on the spot with a little bit more, talk to the people at home that maybe are from Ottawa viewers, maybe just not familiar with the Middle Illini. I mean, if you ask anybody down the street in Washington or anybody in the Middle Illini who Washington's rival is, they're going to answer you that it's Metamora. But Morton, as you continue to talk about, has been the rival mainly because of the incredible programs in the last couple of years of this girls basketball team. So kind of what do you think the environment is going to be like on Thursday? It being a little bit of a drive, but knowing how well attended those other previous 3 games have been.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, both of these fan bases, two of the most top tier in the area, got to say. You know, both fans really showed out. Again, Kingman Gym is, you know, it's obviously a tough gym to fill. It's a large place. It gets very loud. Again, we love coming here so much. And first-class staff, hospitality here from all the folks here at Ottawa. So definitely encourage you to come up to Ottawa if you can on Thursday. But again, if not, we'll have you covered with live free audio coverage on Thursday. But again, I think it's going to be a great environment. You know, really as far as what we're going to see, I'm not sure. All I know is it's going to be pretty close. I'd be shocked if it wasn't a close game. At least for most of the way through. So, again, you know, the fact that we got Middle Illini versus Middle Illini, 2 conference teams in the sectional title is a pretty neat thing, and we're definitely looking forward to it here on Thursday. So, Kaden, unless you have anything else that you want to mention before we hit the road back to Peoria, I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight. Again, I want to thank our great sponsor, Domino's, and remember, you can get any pizza, any crust, any toppings for $9.99 each. If you order now until March 2nd on Domino's.com. Tonight's broadcast would not be possible without them. And also, stay tuned to our social media channels. We're going to be in plenty of different places here later this week for boys basketball as well. We'll have lots of coverage coming up on CSM Overtime for written coverage of all the playoff games, some game stories, and catching up with all the biggest games around. Subscribe today at clutchsportsil.com/overtime. Again, I said it last week, but this is only February, and we're going to get a good one here on February 27th with Washington and Morton. That'll about do it from Kingman Gym in Ottawa. For Caden Sexton, I'm Jonathan Michael. Washington wins 55-48, Morton 59-46 over Ottawa. We will see you on Thursday night for more girls hoops, the sectional title on the line.